up?
It's rolling.
Oh, it's rolling. Hey, guys, it's ClevelandMoto Podcast. I don't have a can to open. Well, Nick will get us open.
I was not prepared for this.
Oh, thank you, Nick. And they're off. By God, golly gee, it's fucking July 16th, man.
Isn't it Christmas in July almost?
It really is getting close.
You were saying that.
I do have some.
Oh, by gosh, by golly.
Yeah, I do have a couple of Christmas ales. Like, I've got 12 Christmas ales. We could do the 12 days of
At my
Christmas.
local grocery store, I saw they were selling like 12 dogs of Christmas.
Oh, they were?
For Christmas in
Yeah.
July,
I saved 2 Sixers.
July 16th, and we're drinking a beer that's almost 16% alcohol.
This is also true. Yeah. Yesterday was my 20th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Waters, the noble and sainted Dr. Waters.
She's the luckiest woman in the world.
It is your 30th?
Yeah.
Fuck, man. Jesus Christ. 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had looked at our wedding pictures from 20 years ago. It was pretty fun. There was a lot of interesting things. We did half of our wedding party was scooter people and half of it was normal people.
Yep.
So we actually have 2 sets of photos.
I liked your white and black Vespas.
Yes, we did the white and black, the bride and groom Vespas out in front for people to sit on. Super fun.
And you looked exactly like the lead singer of Madness, which was a good thing.
My flat top was impeccable.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, my wedding flat top was truly something for the ages.
But your face kind of looks like his a little bit too.
Yeah,
So you have that. Yeah. You have like a doppelganger.
It's Suggs, right?
Yeah.
Suggs. The to my left,
Dan Kromke.
Dan Kromke, and we're going to get into the beers Dan brought because holy shit. And then to his left,
Nick DeVito.
Excellent. And
Hoffert.
there you go. And to his,
Johnny Mac.
and
Steve Sleepy.
and your humble narrator, Phil Waters, and that's the first time ever we've covered the bases in less than 3 minutes.
Record flat.
Yeah, that is a record. I just wanted to see if we could do it. I just didn't know if we had it in us. So Daniel, what did you bring for us tonight? What am I drinking? Because what I'm drinking tastes delicious, but it also tastes dangerous.
This is a Noble Beast.
Okay.
Made this English barley wine. We don't run 2020 vintage.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Almost 16% alcohol. Says it'll age for 25 years if you put it in your cellar.
It'll age. This is a barley wine, a beer that'll age for 25 years. Because any other beer, if you've ever been like, oh, this is a beautiful bottle, I think I'm going to keep it, and then we'll drink it sometime on a special occasion. And then you open that son-of-a-bitch and you're like, oh, fucking hell.
Or like Heineken that just comes like that.
Yeah. Don't drink any beer in a green bottle. Yeah.
I hate to pry, but how much does one singular unit of that cost?
Oh, well, I'd like to first call attention to the size of said unit. Because that's an Irish bottle. That is seriously, that's a bottle that doesn't shower with the other kids after gym class. That is 8.5 fluid ounces. Yeah.
But that's barley wines for you. If you if you get one at a bar, you're going to get it in a little tiny snifter.
Right.
And
Exactly. That's 8.5 ounces.
At 15%. You probably don't want to be drinking them by the pint.
When I picked these up, I ordered a 5-ounce sample of this, and they gave me, I think, like half a 16-ounce glass.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Damn. Giddy up. And what does a bottle of this Don't Rat, Don't Run cost?
I think it was $14.99 a bottle.
$14.99 a bottle. So there you go.
That's
and it
not
is
awful,
delicious.
Though. I mean, like you figure like a Chimay is going to cost you $10 a bottle.
Yeah. This is
And
really
I rate
tasty.
that higher than a Chimay.
You know, they make all kinds of low alcohol beers too. The owner is a member of Skidmark Garage, and you know he's really into motorcycles. And I think one of my favorite beers from them is the Piwo Grodziski.
Sounds Polish.
It's 100% smoked wheat malt, oak smoked wheat malt beer, 3.5% alcohol.
Oh yeah.
So you can go down there and have 2 or 3 of those and still be fine.
And still drive your bicycle home. We've had a fucking another banner week since last time we met. Our shop has been insane. I'm going to tell you right now, Americans are completely looking at this as an opportunity to social distance at 45 miles an hour. And everybody who got a $600 a week unemployment check is blowing it on motorcycle-related fun.
In addition to their Trump change.
Yes, exactly. In addition to their Trump change. I've never seen a year like this. It is insane. We got the numbers back from the last quarter. And according to Piaggio's numbers, which are highly suspect on their best day, the Northeast District of the United States, sales are up 319%.
Wow.
Not 70%, not 80%, 319%.
Sell them while you can.
We are running into a serious fucking problem getting bikes. And we also dealing with the other side of the coin where it's like, but I want an Oompa Loompa now. People that couldn't pronounce the word Piaggio are now mandating that they have to be able to come in and buy one and take one home, before 7 p.m. They're not fucking around. And this is a very strange behavior to have somebody, come into your shop and sort of demand that. We're thrilled. We're trying to help out where we can, but there are certain bikes that we know are going to be like, yeah, you're going to get that bike at the end of August. Like that's when that's going to happen. So you might be on a 6-week wait and you'll be thrilled to get it when you fucking get it. So the good news is due to global warming, December is one of my favorite months to ride in. So, yeah, rock on, dude. So yeah, that's fucking fun. I have been riding the Zero FXS to work lately, the one that's behind Steve. We had a customer trade that bike in with 2 years old with less than 300 miles on it. Wow. And they traded up. This is what's hilarious. They traded up to the Black Forest edition, which the Black Forest edition of the Zero is the official, Caviar Club bike. It is the DSR, and it is all of the luggage. It's all SWMO tech from the tip to the tail. It has all the armor on it. Yeah.
So in 2 years, the guy only rode it 300 miles?
Yeah, in 2 years, the guy only rode it 300 miles.
I have 12,000 on mine.
I know.
And I have 20 other bikes to ride.
I know, man. And this gentleman kind of upgrading to this Black Forest edition. He has taken about 6 months to make this change. He's really, really thought about it. And so he's taken all this time to make the change to this Black Forest.
It's a great bike, though.
It's everything. It's the full adventure package from Zero. And what was funny is selling him this bike took about 3 months or 4 months. And it finally got to the point where I had to tell him, I was like, look, Zero is an American company. They're in Scotts Valley, California. They are now to the point where, due to social distancing, there might be 20 people working at the factory, right? Instead of the normal 120 people. So I'm going to give you a very small window of time where I know there's a DSR available in California. You can have this bike if you act now. And everyone's like, oh, that's just a shitty salesman trick. No, he missed it. He didn't get it. So he had to wait.
And then he wanted it even worse.
He had to wait 6 more weeks to get his bike. So he would have had his bike 6 weeks ago had he pulled the trigger when I told him to. But because he didn't, he had to wait 6 more weeks. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind if you're going to be like, I need a motorcycle right now. Keep in mind that your dealer may not be able to get it for you.
I kind of did the same. I was going to buy a Blue Monkey.
Blue Monkey!
So the dealership in Amherst had one Blue Monkey left.
Oh, really?
I went in there, and I went in there to buy parts, but also to buy the Blue Monkey because it was like 0% for the loan period.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, she said, "Get that Blue Monkey prep. That guy just bought it."
Oh. Well, did it work? Did you feel a little pang in your heart?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get another one.
Yeah.
I mean, but now he said that his showroom was empty. I mean, it's kind of like here, like there's things are like just missing here.
Yeah, there are whole segments that are just vacant.
Or they have sold signs on everything.
Yes, that is true.
But his showroom was literally empty.
Yeah.
I thought he was going out of business because there was nothing there.
Yeah, he sells himself down to nothing, right? We keep one bike of each thing here so that people can see what they want to see and kind of get it. There's a really dumb movie with David Duchovny in it called Evolution. And there's a Blue Monkey. So the Blue Monkey, there's a particular dumb part in the movie where this is what happens. And one of the not so bright characters just shouts, "Blue Monkey, Blue Monkey." So you saying Blue Monkey is very much, so you got to see Evolution, movie. See the movie.
Blue Monkey. That's why you always keep Head and Shoulders in your house.
You always keep Head and Shoulders in your house in case that shows up, because that Head and Shoulders is the only thing that'll kill that. It's the selenium. It's what keeps the brother's hair so smooth.
How did they know that Christy McCauley had dandruff? They found her Head and Shoulders after the shuttle crash.
Oh my God, that's an old joke. Oh my God.
I didn't know who her name was until you said shuttle, and I was like,
you could have said Sally Ride, but that would have been, that's exactly
right on that. I don't even know.
Yeah. So there you go. So you have that. So it's just been insane at the shop. So it's a crazy time to be here. Yesterday, I think we sold 8 bikes. We lost track.
Jeez, oh man.
And we have people calling us from Buffalo and Rochester, giving us deposits over the phone and shit. And the Sean Wotherspoon, which is the bike we talked about a couple of weeks ago, which is the Partridge Family Vespa.
Which Nick's shoes match.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And so they literally
the Benetton Vespa.
the
Somebody has to
Benetton,
pick
the
it.
Harley Quinn Vespa.
The Harley Quinn.
Your
Vespa.
right hand. The beer in your
Yeah.
right hand.
We're trying to pick a beer.
They are, and they
Those beer cans are what, 32 ounces?
Those crawlers,
Big ass cans.
At least a quart.
crawlers,
Wow.
right?
those are big. Yeah, those are some big fucking beer cans.
Look at the cans on that guy.
Or Dan's really small.
So these are crawlers. They fill them on the spot.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that color.
That's what. That's everything.
Hey!
That's what the doctor says every time I
it
go.
looks like- I mean, it's a.
I wasn't
kinda-
expecting that
I
color.
was expecting raspberry here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, Harlequin.
So there's the Volkswagen Harlequin. I just love. I always
Is that a
love
sour?
the Harlequins. They're
Wow.
so cool. They're just so neat.
Well, and everybody who owns the Harlequin has to get that multicolored Momo steering wheel.
Yes,
from the late '80s.
Right.
Now, do they? When
I like
are they all
why.
different? Or are they
So
all
yes,
the same?
so that's the interesting thing. So the Harlequins come in. I believe it's 4 different varietals because they built the car on 4 different chassis: a green chassis, a yellow chassis, blue chassis,
Red
and
and
maybe a red
blue.
chassis. Yeah.
So
And
to tell
so-
you got to look at the rockers would be the
Yeah,
chassis
pretty much
color?
look at the rockers. Yeah, look at the rockers and the C pillar. So the C pillar is going to be what color the frame of the car was.
I wonder if all yellow rocker Harlequins had the same combination of other panels.
Do they always have a green driver's door, right? So if you see a yellow Harlequin, does it always have a green driver's door? And I think it does actually.
yeah, it looks like. Oh, right there. There's the 4.
Yeah. So
So
Yeah.
if they were, if a yellow one and a blue one were to run into each other, would it just turn into a green?
it would just
car?
turn into right 4 separate Volkswagens would jump out. The Wotherspoon, the Vespa Wotherspoon, is very much the same concept, but the Vespa Wotherspoon is not based on 4 different paint jobs. It's all based on one. So,
And I know what I'm going to watch tomorrow. The story behind the Harlequin.
oh yeah, it's a fun story. Yeah, I like the Harlequin. I've always thought the Harlequin was just adorable. Really a cool looking bike. And so yeah, that's the Vespa. They're all the Vespas. Wotherspoons are all yellow bikes. So they're all yellow bikes with added flavor. So, and the flavor package is always the same. So,
Flavor.
the interesting thing today is because the Harlequins are so fucking special, they all rolled out. We had them here, and none of them had owner's manuals. I was like, wow, you really fucked it up on this one. There's no owner's manuals. Well, it turns out it comes with a very special Wotherspoon owner's manual. So it does not have the same owner's manual that a regular Vespa has. It has its own special owner's manual, and it has a special seat cover for that corduroy seat. So the seat covers haven't shipped out yet. The owner's manuals just got here today.
Oh, wow.
So those arrived today.
What is
Nice.
Wotherspoon? Is that an art?
Sean Wotherspoon is an influencer. I dare not use the term artist,
Okay.
but he's a person that was really big into thrifting and upcycling shit, and so he's got some Nikes he put together, which in my opinion are nothing outrageous.
Yeah.
Like that's not great. I think the Wotherspoon Vespa is a much better
Wait,
or
what-
more
what-
interesting thing.
What influenced this color?
This is Mr. Wotherspoon, and so yeah, he's a person that just kind of upcycles things, but Nike gave him too much money to do the Air Max 95. So you see that, so he's got a couple of different Nikes that are out there, and he likes the different colors and whatnot.
They're not bright enough for me.
Well, again, I totally agree with you.
Oh, there you go.
So there's
Now we're talking.
there's the 97s.
Right enough
That's a
for
little
me.
bit more vibrant. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do agree. I think it's a really fun thing. What I love is that all the people that are coming into the shop and having strong opinions about the bike. Like somebody's like, "Oh, it looks pre-stolen," and it's like, and other people come in and they're like, "Oh, wow, a part's been special."
Right? How many bikes was this?
Right. Exactly.
Well, for a while, the police were trying to crack down on people who were replacing body parts.
Yeah.
So, like, if your title says it's a red car,
Yeah.
but your tailgate is black,
Right.
or they would try to pull you over and
Yeah.
say, it says here that your car is red, but this is black.
Mhm.
Were these stolen parts? And
Well,
So
Yep.
going back to the Harley Quinn Golf,
Yeah.
would the color on your registration be like
Multi?
Multi. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
that's
to.
true.
There is a
Multi is an
multicolor
option,
option in
yeah.
Ohio. I recommend you use it.
that's what I only
As
use.
Hoffert said. As Steve said. Multi. What color is it? Multi. Well, I mean, it's a blue car. There are silver parts.
some black parts?
There's some black
There's-
parts. The tires are black. They're not blue.
They pull you over because of the color.
Right.
So
Yeah.
They have no idea what color it is
That's
because
a good idea.
it's just multicolored. So yeah, that's what Weatherspoon's all about.
This is multi-blue.
And I'm a terrible representative. Don't let me sway your opinion of what Sean Weatherspoon
Right,
is
right.
as a human being.
Sure.
Because whatever, you know.
Don't let him sway your opinion of him either.
Right. There you go. Excellent. Have your own fucking opinion. That's right, Nick. Fuck that. So that's what the Sean Weatherspoon Vespa is all about. That. Now, I don't give a fuck about sneakers, but I just like it when somebody does something outrageous with a color palette. And I like it when a company does something stupid and bold and fun with a bike to get people's attention. So,
cool.
I like that. I think that's very interesting. And, I couldn't be more excited about that.
I don't care a lot about sneakers, but I've been looking into things that are made in the USA. And
Yeah.
New Balance is one of the brands where you can get the New Balance 990
Yeah.
is still made in the US of A.
Really? Interesting. Very
They
good
are
to know.
expensive, though. They're
Yeah.
like $140 a pair,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is what you find about a lot of stuff that's still made in the
Yes,
USA.
it is.
I was looking at new shoes, and because I used to wear Converse all the time, and then I decided that Vans was a better company than Converse.
much more comfortable.
But still not made in USA.
Nothing is. I tried to find a USA-made HD TV antenna. The
Interesting.
one that I found on Amazon that said clearly in the ad, made in the USA and everything.
Right.
You look at the reviews. It says it's made in the USA in the advertising. The box itself says made in China. It's stamped made in China. They're
What?
clearly lying. Do not buy this if you care that it's made in the USA.
Holy shit.
So I'm going to make one in the USA.
Ah,
I'm going
there
to
you go.
convert the picture behind my HD TV
Right.
into an antenna. I'm going to run a line. I'm going to
yeah.
take the back of it. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going
Right.
to put a copper and stuff
Are these
like
made
that.
in the U.S. here?
Yes. So this is the only motorcycle helmet years ago when we did the challenge of can you be an American biker?
Oh.
When we literally tried, and we tried for quite a while, to find everything that you would have for your bike, your apparel, whatever. This was the only motorcycle helmet that we could find that was actually made in the USA. It was the only one. It's made by Seer, Seer, and it is the only goddamn helmet that you can buy that's made in America. And we priced them out, and I believe they were $700 for a shorty.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, they are not fucking cheap. It is very much a something best to be paid for with other people's money. Yeah.
And the only people who buy those cop-looking helmets
Yeah.
are departments where they had to have an American motorcycle with an American helmet.
And that's exactly right. Yeah, that is exactly right. That is
But it
the
doesn't
best
make sense.
example.
I don't understand why there can't be USA-made helmets. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
by and large, a helmet is not made through a lot of hand labor.
Right.
It's on an assembly line, machines that people, run and everything. But even if you're paying somebody $20 an hour to make helmets,
Right.
if each helmet coming off the line is $100,
Yeah.
$200,
That's the cheapest way you can put one of their helmets together. So that is no options, no features whatsoever. That is their basic helmet.
Yeah.
$395.
Oh, but is that a carbon fiber?
It is a
helmet, though?
carbon fiber helmet. Thank you very much. So that's not that bad.
It's not a full face. Though.
No, it's a shorty. Yeah, it's a shorty.
because I was looking at guitars, and I'm like, come on. You could make an American-made guitar that is not $2,500.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, for reals. Yeah, all day long. Wouldn't even be a hard thing to do. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with that.
I'm okay with having people come in from Mexico and have started, if we need cheap labor, which I don't believe that's the real problem.
No, I don't
That
think
is
it's a real
not the problem.
Yeah.
The labor cost is way overblown for what people say it is.
Yeah,
Also,
that's-
manufacturing adds like 7 times the power of the dollar that's
Right.
spent on manufacturing. So it really aids the entire community if you're spending the money on manufacturing.
Yeah. I bought a kayak years ago, and the kayak I had been using was a typical, Dick's Disaster, whatever,
Blow molded.
blow molded $400 kayak. And then I bought an American-made, hand-laid fiberglass kayak, and I bought it secondhand. So I spent, $1,200, $1,300 for it. And it had a couple of repairs in it. It wasn't pretty looking, but it was really good. And it worked super well. And it was fast, and it was easy to run. It's a very good kayak. And I got it for a screaming deal because when I looked and saw it, they were over $4,000 for this particular brand, this particular model of kayak. So, yeah, when you get a craftsman-built product and you get something that's really, really good, we joke about it in the gun industry all the time. Sometimes a Mossberg 500 will shoot just as good as your Benelli, right? It depends on the guy pulling the trigger, right?
But it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it. Exactly
or like
right.
your Kimber versus your CZ or something.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like,
But I mean, a blow molded kayak,
Right.
there are blow molding happens in this country.
Oh, yeah.
It's presses, it's
Absolutely.
machines.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you want to have Chinese people come here to run the machines.
That's right. Yeah.
It could happen
It
in
could
this
absolutely
country
happen.
at a very reasonable price point.
Yeah.
And there's things like Step 2 that makes all the kids' toys.
All the kids' toys, yeah.
They're made here, in
They're made in Ohio.
right
Yeah.
over in Aurora. Why can't they make a kayak?
They can certainly make a kayak,
Right.
but for whatever reason, it's somebody makes a lot more money by getting it for $20,
Oh, yeah.
shipped for free. For whatever reason,
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah.
people have to are hitting home runs,
Mhm.
making filthy amounts of money. When you buy that $300 kayak, they got it for
Oh,
$30.
God, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just like with the Chinese scooters.
Yeah.
If you're paying $2,000 for a Chinese
Right.
scooter, the guy who imported it probably has $500 in it at that.
Yeah.
When we did our test buy ages ago, and we were talking about jokingly having our own Cleveland Moto, our own Pride of Cleveland line of scooters,
Yeah, back then.
we were going to call it the Caveat Emptor. And we just thought it'd be fun to have a Caveat Emptor 125 or a Caveat Emptor 50. And we spoke with one of the Chinese companies, one of the usual scumbags, and they had us down to $229 per unit. Shipped.
Wow.
How can you ship anything from China for $229?
Especially something scooter sized.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what you're getting into, is you're getting into something that is clearly such an incredibly bad piece of garbage.
plus you're being subsidized
At
by
that
the
price-
Chinese government.
At that price point, it goes beyond cheap labor.
Oh, yeah.
It goes to cheap materials. It goes to cheap
Absolutely.
energy. It goes to cheap shipping.
Right.
Everything is super
Well, yeah,
cheap.
You're not talking like the only difference between the one you get for that price is like the nuts aren't quite tight enough or
Mhm.
something. It's like everything is Swiss cheese crap. Like the metallurgy is horrible. Like,
Right. Yeah. I mean, we can joke all the time. Like the Tao Tao at $699 is an incredibly deplorable piece of equipment. It is a very, very bad bike. They're awful. I mean, we've seen a few of them in here. The quality, the build quality on these things is junk. I mean, they are truly first-rate offenders. This is the Tao Tao Pony, the Pony 50, and this is a vile piece of excrement. This is one of the worst motor vehicles I have ever seen in my
Well,
life.
Even
Looks fast.
even the Hellcat that I had, the Tao Tao Hellcat.
Right,
I mean, I did a lot of work to it, but it was working.
right.
But the plastic itself, and I wasn't off roading it. I was riding it to the get. It was
Yeah.
disintegrating. It was turning into powder.
It literally turns into powder.
Yeah.
And we've seen these
Like
bikes
BMWs.
after 5 or 6 years, and the front fender, you can just pluck a chunk out of it with your fingers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It just loses all of its,
Oh,
like
yeah.
whatever oils that are in it,
Suck
bake
up,
out in
yeah.
the sun, or even if you store them in your garage, they become actually brittle.
It
Well,
was
that's-
two-part epoxy. One part costs a lot of money. The other part doesn't. They used a lot of the one that doesn't.
Yeah, that's true too.
And you can see where they skimp on a lot of things, like the speed sensor, right?
Yep.
So the metal hub of the wheel has these two little ears, like like indented into the hub of the wheel.
Okay, yeah.
And they have this
right.
little plastic thing that you stick in there, and the hub turns it, and then it kind of holds itself against the fork.
Yep.
That's made out of the I don't even know what you'd call it. It's almost like carbon powder mixed
Yeah.
with like a little bit of like something.
Oh yeah.
And if you touch it wrong, it just disintegrates.
It goes away.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean that's
the Tao Tao Racer 50.
yeah, the Tao Tao Racer 50, and they have the balls to call it a scooter.
A couple drops of super glue dissolved in nail polish
Mhm.
and poured into a powder.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. This it's this one up here that is another one that we've had the horror of laying our paws upon. And this thing goes by a bunch of different names, but this is a 49cc, and this one is sometimes advertised at a premium because it's an actual 4-stroke, not a 2-stroke. And these things are awful. And they're usually sold under the name John Way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see this, like John Way is another one. Like we got sued about Wildfire, but like John Way is another one where people call here all the time. They're like, "Oh, I've got a John Way's." No, dude, goodbye.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing about it.
About what, 2 or 3 years ago, Craigslist was just all Wildfire scooters.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Like you couldn't find anything else.
Yeah, there was literally the only thing you could lay your hands on was Wildfire scooters.
Oh, I like that police edition.
Was that the police edition?
The red, white, and black one.
Oh yeah. That's the law enforcement package right there. Yeah, perfect. These things are absolute shit.
I like how they have to have the brick.
I like that. Yeah, well, they want to have it a little more upright for the photos. They don't want to show it's ghetto lean when it's But it is. They're really, really bad.
Oh, that has to be amazing. The trike.
Oh, when you see the trikes, these things are awful, and I get
Best of
probably
both worlds.
9 calls a week for this shit.
Here's the thing: your kickstand leans your bike over more than you do.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The ice bears. The ice bears are another item of a particular.
The ice bear.
The ice bear. Again,
Ice Bear Mojo magic.
my rule is very simple. The more fierce the animal's name is, right, the much steamier pile of shit the bike is. Yeah. If it's an ice bear, you know that's a
It's just
steamy
like with
pile of
Harbor
shit.
Freight tools.
Yes.
Like if it is named after a city in the United States.
Yeah. Stay
it's
away.
Crap.
Yeah. Stay away. Why is it that Chicago is so bad and Pittsburgh's so good when it comes to Harbor Freight tools? Yeah. Taiwan versus China. So yeah, it's a really, this kind of stuff when you talk about like how bad can China be, this is how bad China can be. And the thing is, I get 15 calls a week, maybe. People want these 3-wheeled scooters.
Do they have a differential or is it a straight axle?
In most cases, it's 1-wheel drive.
You sell like a wheelchair attachment too, so you can haul the wheelchair and then their walker.
Yeah,
know,
This is the point of fail where you're like, this thing actually cost less than my mom's wheelchair.
If
Right.
you gave people what they actually wanted,
Yeah.
you'd probably be sued like $1 million.
Oh, I gotta believe it, right? Yeah. I mean, there's no way that thing can be FMVSS certified. There is no way that vehicle is safety certified for anything.
Well, the one they test, they probably built all right. You know, the one they send to the.
I think they're just. I don't even think these are being tested. These aren't going through a test track. These aren't going anywhere
Oh no, that
for
would cost
safety
money.
testing because that would cost money. It's exactly right.
Well, then how did they
Because you're
get
just
it?
getting a certificate of origin.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, and then you
Yeah,
go
it's
to
an
the-
MCO. Yeah, there's no safety implied in this thing. Like the idea that you're going to put it on the road is completely secondary.
Yeah, you got to get it inspected. And in fact, a lot of different states, because I'm still on the clone forum on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these guys get these things with MCOs and they go to try to get their title and register them. And they're like, no, fuck you. We're not doing that. And so there's all these threads like, I'm in Texas and I can't license my Tahoe. What do I do? And it's try another dealer, or try
Buy a
another.
good bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying. What can I do to title this? Maybe it would have been a fucking good question to ask before you spent the money.
Well, and then they're asking the dealers because
Right.
like the dealers are leaving the MSOs blank.
yes, of
And
course
so
they are.
the one kid was like, I went to the title bureau and they're like, no, the dealer has to put their name on it.
Yes.
They're like,
Exactly.
we've never had to do this. And they're like, well, so wait, so you're selling these, but you're not even putting your name on the MSO or MSCO.
No, the
because-
MSO
hope
is
you
literally a
forget where you
piece
got
of
it.
cardboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a piece of cardboard on the outside of the box.
I don't want you to be able to prove that I sold you.
Exactly.
Whenever you sue me in court.
Right.
So what I've got up on the screen right now is the latest bit of cromulence to find its way into the Cleveland Moto.
I don't understand what cromulence means. Can you extrapolate a
Yes,
little bit?
I can extrapolate on
I've never actually
cromulence.
heard that word before.
Absolutely.
Cromulence.
Well, so-
I love it.
Right. So cromulent is like totally acceptable. Like
Okay.
you're just like, is that good? Do you like that? It's cromulent.
Okay.
Satisfactory.
Totally satisfactory, right? And when somebody says like, how was your bed last night? It was perfectly cromulent.
Totally based on my last name.
Yeah, right.
Dan Cromulenky.
And so that's with a K or with
No,
a...
it's with a C. Cromulent. Right. And it is. I mean, it's a word. It's a legit word, and it is one of those things that is just a. I think it may have started on The Simpsons,
Okay.
and I think it was one of those deals. It means it's okay, but I think it's like it's okay with whipped cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Succinctly.
Yes, exactly. But I think it did have its origins on The Simpsons. So so that's legit. So this thing, I have a customer who came into my shop who's about 137 years old, and he showed up, and he's a former heating and air conditioning magnate in the greater Cleveland area. And back when they would actually cool your house using mammoth carcasses dug up from the tundra permafrost and blowing air over them. That's apparently when he was a heating and air conditioning guy. But the fun thing is, he came in and he just straight up said, I want a Vespa sidecar so I can put my little dog in it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's the goal with the little dog thing? And he's like, oh, well, my dog's going to be the next Spuds McKenzie. What? Okay. He's like, yeah. People have taken pictures of my dog. People love taking pictures of my dog. I got a convertible Volkswagen. We drive around everywhere. And she wears a hat, and I put her in the Volkswagen, and people take pictures of her all the time. And she's appeared on Instagram.
Oh, ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's appeared on Instagram.
No other dog's ever been on Instagram.
I don't think he knows what Instagram
Can't
is.
just put any old thing up.
Yeah,
on
they do not put just any
He
old thing.
first found
on
it when
Instagram.
he was looking for an
somebody-
a girlfriend.
I was about to say,
Instagram.
he also is funding right now 2 or 3 Instagram models because he
Yes.
believes in their
in their potential. Right, exactly. He's supporting 2 or 3 Instagram models. And so, so this particular thing, the TV just decided to shit the bed real quick. But what is funny is, like, this gentleman, when he came in, I was like, okay, well, you just want to put a dog in it, right? A dog. Well, we've all seen the Buddy scooter, right?
Yeah.
So we had the Buddy scooter with the Buddy sidecar. The Buddy scooter is $2,700. The sidecar, I think, is like $1,600. You're all in. You're relatively affordable at under $5,000, right? And that seems reasonable. If you want to just, if you're 1,000 years old, if you're the crypt keeper and you want to put your little dog in this thing and drive around your neighborhood at 12 miles an hour or even 45 miles an hour, that will work, right? I mean, that will function. That's not going to give you a problem. It's going to do what it's meant to do. No, he needs to have a Vespa. Okay, fine. I'll sell you a Vespa 150. That'll be great. No, I don't want a Vespa 150. I want a Vespa 300.
Oh my God.
Why? Why do you need an 85 mile an hour scooter
right.
to fuck it up by putting a sidecar on it so you have your 12-pound dog in a hat
Right. And
that can go on the sidecar? And
The dog has to
Now
go
I'm
in
thinking of
style.
liability waivers, all kinds
Right.
of things. Like,
So
This guy has a death wish.
this guy has a death wish, right? And I mean, it takes him 19 minutes to get from the parking lot to the showroom. So I just kind of like, you know what? COVID, by the way, when this deal started, COVID was 1 day old, 2 days old. So part of me thought, take the man's money. He's not going to survive COVID. This will be the easiest money you've ever made in your life. You won't even have to order the sidecar. You're going to get a call from his attorney or his wife or offspring or, the executor of his estate.
Or the dog.
Or the dog. The dog's going to show up and be like, you owe us $10,000.
Yeah.
And so,
No, where's my sidecar?
right, where's my sidecar? And I get a driver too. I'm Duds McKenzie. And so I looked it up and I found out there's like one company in the world outside of Watsonian. And Watsonian is a British word that means too much money. It literally is Watsonian sidecars. Would anyone like to guess what the price is for a Watsonian sidecar for a Vespa scooter is? For a Vespa GTS.
$6,500.
That's what I thought too.
How much is the scooter itself?
$71.99.
$9,000.
Nah, 65. I think Steve's
It's
right.
$8,000. It's actually more than the scooter itself.
All right, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Bear with me. I had to. They had to make a special one for the Vespa.
It can't be that expensive.
Oh no, it's totally a bargain. I'm gonna. Oh wait, they don't have the price on this one. Shit.
Cromulent.
Give me a second.
It's totally cromulent.
It's totally cromulent. They did. So what is that in? I'm gonna pull it up here, guys. I'm gonna pull up the picture so you can see it. Yeah, you like the monkey with a little sidecar, right? Yeah.
Oh, monkey.
So
like
here's the
those.
Watsonian. Wait for it. It's going to come up after the tropical picture.
Slow.
Yeah.
But I like the silver sidecar, and if you did the yellow,
There's the
swooshes-
Watsonian.
That's it?
That's the
Oh,
Watsonian.
that's like $5.
Oh, that one's 10. That's
So
not
that's
the
the
one you got.
Watsonian.
That's not the one you got.
No, that's not what I got.
Okay.
Right. That's the Watsonian sidecar. And the Watsonian sidecar is 4,500 pounds.
Well, $6,500, man.
Yep, but that's not the one for the GTS.
What's
It's
a
more
pound?
expensive
A
when you go
pound
for
I
the
think I'm in the
GTS.
hunt
1.2,
then,
right?
at
Yeah.
$8,000.
I think it is.
1.2.
So that's not the one we got because there was no way we were going to pony up that kind of money. So what we did instead was I found this company in Jakarta, Indonesia, that makes these sidecars, and apparently they're good enough to be used by the Tour Rome in a sidecar, Vespa Sidecar, tourist event. And so we bought one of those.
Did you get the dog a little like roof too?
I did not. No, I didn't. You see there's one with a roof on it down there, but that's not
He
an MP3.
did get the gyroscopic water bowl, though.
Yes,
no matter how much
exactly.
it moves, it just...
And like,
Right.
what do they call those things that like on a boat?
Pendulum.
Yeah, it is a bike buoy. Yeah. So that is like not joking around. This sidecar showed up finally, and it got snagged by
gimbal.
customs because they did not. The company shipping it did not understand the way shipping things out of Jakarta, Indonesia works. So how many of these did they make for Jakarta, Indonesia? Because they're not very good at shipping them out of Jakarta, Indonesia. That was a pain in the dick of the highest order. So I did finally get the thing out of customs. Well, when they built this, not a single molecule of instructions came with it. They basically said, good luck, pal. So I would like to remind you that a Vespa scooter is hollow. That a Vespa scooter is, in fact, monocoque. It's built like an airplane, right? And this scooter is hollow. It is also built like an airplane. It is hollow. Now, imagine if you would trying to bolt a little Cessna to a 737.
Right.
And they were going to have to fly through the air that way. But here's the trick. You're not allowed to get into the Cessna for any of the fasteners. And you're not allowed to get into the 737 for any of the fasteners. You have to secure this vehicle to this other vehicle from the outside, and you can't get into either one of them.
Aren't you just supposed to through weld it and then torque it to 150 torque?
Until it squishes the whole frame of the Vespa down? Almost. I'm going to pass around the reinforcement bar that came with the sidecar kit, that this is supposed to be mounted on the interior side of the Vespa frame to give the sidecar kit rigidity.
through the
because-
battery box or something?
Well, you're going into the floor pan of the Vespa. So you remember the old Vespas
the
were
plastic.
flat. Okay, old Vespa
Yeah,
floors were
old
flat.
Vespa. Yeah.
But modern Vespa floors are like blow molded. They're like they're curved, right? They're stamped out and they're curved.
And they're
And then
plastic foot.
the foot part you put your feet on is a plastic cover that goes on the top.
So you take
But
that out?
You take that out.
Okay.
So you lift that up so you can get access to see where you're about to drill into blindly. With like radiator hoses and shit in there. Okay, there you go. This is what's holding your life together.
I have better metal just
Yeah.
to hold my muffler on the TNT.
Oh yeah. Oh, way better.
Yeah.
Way better. In fact, I've seen better metal than that
wait.
with dental work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it has a Rockwell hardness of 4.
So this is not even the size of a hacksaw blade.
Nope.
I'm sure that this
It may
one,
be made out of hacksaw blade. It might be a used
if
hacksaw
it
blade.
would, that would be an improvement.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's the mildest steel. I could easily bend this with my fingers.
You
Of
can
course you
curl it around your fingers.
Yep.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is like one of those snap.
It's like a slap bracelet. Exactly.
It is.
And this is the actual piece of steel that comes in the kit that they expect you to put inside the body of a
Precision
Vespa
drilling of the
scooter.
holes too.
No.
Oh, no.
And the entire
So-
thing looks like it's curved.
Now, first of all, those holes were not drilled. Those were chewed out by the 4-year-old that has one tooth. Yeah. Those were not drilled. You look at those holes; those were not drilled holes. There's no drill on the planet that
that did
drills
not
that
come off a
poorly.
stamping press. That did not come. That came
No.
off of. Here is a coil of what is the banding for
It-
lumber?
It came off the banding from another crate.
and here are some tin snips.
Yeah, it is the definition of fabricobbled. Like, it is just junk. And yeah, you can totally wave that shit. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, look at that. Woo.
Flexy it is.
Yeah, it's so flexible.
I have to fart, but that brings
Yeah.
up a good question.
Yeah.
Can you get COVID from a fart?
Oh shit.
Dude.
You might be able to.
Yeah.
People like to say,
No, you're wearing pants. It's like an ass mask.
There you
You
go.
think that mask is holding
It's an ass mask.
that mask hold? You think that mask is holding in the COVID? Do your underpants hold in a fart? And I'm here to say my underpants hold in a lot of.
No, but your underpants will hold piss in though. They won't let you piss out like that.
We can end this podcast.
The Bureau
right
of Workers'
now.
Compensation sent all Cleveland businesses what pay into the Bureau of Workers' Compensation.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Ohio. 50 of these.
Yeah.
Fruit of the Loom.
Fruit of the Looms, man, and they're really good. I
Yeah.
mean, I will say this sumbitch is comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah, it is comfy. I love wearing them. They're really, really good.
If you had like a little cinnamon vanilla spray to put on them and they
Yeah.
smelled like strippers' panties,
I was going to say.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, loves baby soft.
Old Navy has packs of 5 for $5, and you can get them in the camo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I don't have an example, but my sister-in-law made for her daughter, my niece. She made the ones with the little plastic thing so you can actually see your mouth. I should have brought one.
Oh, really? A
Or snag
panel?
one.
A
So-
visible panel?
It's for people who have to lip
Yeah,
read.
lip
Like my
read.
brother is a lip
Oh.
reader.
Yeah.
So you can actually put them on. It's for people in a retail environment if somebody needs to actually see her.
Wow.
Or like maybe dental hygienists. They want people to see your teeth
Yeah.
or something. But they look funny as hell. when
I'm
you
sure
wear
they do.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like a
see-
screen door on a submarine.
And I'm like, as if it's not already hard enough to breathe through a mask. Now you've put a piece of
Plastic
or
right in
vinyl
front of it.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
I could definitely not wear that when I'm in stores and somebody's behind me without a mask. I'm just like, fuck you, fuck.
I'd be putting my tongue against it like.
It's maddening.
Hey, so does anybody?
You should make it like a school bus, like a short bus.
Yeah, short bus. Yeah.
Does anybody make a sidecar without the sidecar? So like, say I want to ride
Just a rail.
my buddy in the winter,
Yeah.
and I want a third.
Just have an
wheel.
outrigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something you should totally just build yourself.
Okay.
There's no reason to pay real money for what is essentially
A stick with a wheel.
a tripod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just take a leaf spring
Yeah.
and put it under your bike and bolt it on, like you bolt it on,
right.
and put 2 wheels on it, or put a skis on it, like they do in a.
Yeah.
I
Bowling.
see them.
Yeah.
They put
Elephant
skis
treffin'.
on, so then you can put your feet on the
Yeah.
leaf spring,
Exactly.
and when you're going over, you could hold
Yeah.
your bike up on. If you're falling, you could just push down on the leaf spring.
Makes perfect sense. I don't know why we haven't done it yet.
My idea for the sidecar at one point, which never took off, obviously, it's a lot of ideas that happen around, but whatever. Was I was just going to try to underneath a bike weld a receiver,
Right.
like you
Oh,
would
yeah.
find on the back of your car, and then you could take like a Harbor Freight rack, slide it in there, pin it, and put a little wheel on it, or just put a
yeah.
pole in there with a wheel on it, and then you have, or put 2. If you had it long enough, you could have one on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. It's it's just one of those things that
It would be sloppy and clunk around.
it would
as
be
fuck,
very
but-
sloppy, but it would work just
But it
fine.
would be very mid-Ohio.
I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
people show up here with Versa haulers. They spend at least $5 on, like the world's worst hitch carrier. And I've seen a $7,000 or $12,000 bike on a $50 hitch carrier.
Yeah.
And this
Finish the
thing is
rest of
just
it?
like rickety as hell.
I know,
And
I
it's
don't
just
get
a
it.
Terrible bad idea.
Blinded.
Yeah.
They're like my tongue.
Serious.
The tongue weight is it can handle 700 pounds. How much is your bike? 707.
707. We're
You're
good.
like- yeah,
We're
you're
good.
fine.
Rounding down.
Yeah,
for safety. Always round down for safety.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
What's
It is. So the problem with this thing was where they had drilled holes in the mounting plate had nothing to do. Like, I'm convinced there are no Vespa GTS 300s in Jakarta, Indonesia,
Yeah.
because somebody's like, well, we're going to put some holes in here. I would have rather had they not put holes in there.
Right.
Because the idea of them putting holes in it suggested to me that somebody had actually figured out where these holes needed to be.
Right.
line up with something.
So they should line up with something. So I took a look at these 4 holes they'd put in the bottom. And by the way, did I mention that this is a 340-pound scooter with a 200-pound human on it? So that's $550.
And it's new and probably quite expensive too.
Very expensive,
Yeah.
right? So this thing is supposed to be bolted on the bottom, and they've given you 4 holes. And these are holes that are no shit, like 11 millimeter.
Oh, it's
geez.
perfect for like a self-tapper.
They're this big, right?
Just shoot some self-tappers.
I'm
in
looking
there.
at this and I was just like, this is a terrible idea. And you know what? Honestly, if we were to put 100 self-tapping screws in the bottom, it would have been stronger than what they were set up to do. Because 100 points with self-tappers would have distributed the load
right.
out.
I mean, I know the
Yeah.
older ones. Didn't they have like that little thing that looked like a toe thing that you'd find on the front bumper of a foreign car up underneath there? You know what I mean? Like there's like
Yeah.
a U-shape. What is that all about?
Well, that's
And
a locking ring.
Could that somehow be used to mount
That is a
your thing?
locking ring, and that is on some of the older bikes. They don't have on the new ones.
Oh,
But the
okay.
locking ring has been replaced by the side stand bracket.
Yeah.
But regardless, there are points under a Vespa where the center tunnel is welded to the floor panel, right?
Right.
So there's a place where two pieces of metal that are moderately thick. I mean, they're made out of the same thing car doors are made out of, I'm sure.
Maybe 22 gauge.
Yeah, 18 for sure at least. Maybe 22 is a little thin, but
Okay.
yeah, but it's thicker than this shit, right? It's certainly thicker than this, and they're welded together, so at least they're sandwiched, right? And then they're spot welded about every like inch and a half or so. And so when I'm looking at this bracket, I'm like, well, at least of all the places I'm going to go into, I'm not just going to go into one layer of sheet metal.
Right.
I better at least try to drill holes through two places. So you're blind drilling through another piece of steel into another piece of steel that is now welded against another one, and you can't see where you're going, because, again, that's the way it works.
Yeah, right.
I gave up. I laid the fucking bike on its side. I just put down some blankets and I was like, screw it. There's no gas in this thing. I literally lied the bike on its side so I could sit there and work with this thing until I found that one spot where I had a place where at least four bolts could go and all be going through double welded thickness of steel.
So let me ask you this. So
Yeah.
like now, alignment of a third wheel on a thing is probably going to be pretty important, right?
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much.
No,
So-
you'd think it would be,
so
but
like-
it's not.
So you don't really have to worry too much.
Nah.
If it's, no.
No, I got a whole book over here that's written on it.
Yeah.
Throw it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There are books that people wrote about like tuning sidecars and dialing sidecars in.
Yeah.
And I have spent like 6 hours with sticks and tape measures and lasers and chalk and shit and shining lights on garage walls and all kinds of crap. I have done way too much math to get this thing set up perfectly. To get scooter sidecars set up, they are literally mathematically perfect according to the rules of, Sidecars by George, Texas Sidecars, whatever book.
Yeah.
Only to have the owner take them out,
Yep.
hit some fucking curbs and
Yeah.
bullshit like
Right.
that,
Yep.
and have it come in leaning like this. Like,
Yep.
what the fuck did you do?
Yep,
No matter how
exactly.
hard you tighten it down,
Right.
it somehow seems that it's going to move or something.
It's some
like
kind
that.
of a slip joint.
You are not
yeah.
necessarily pinning. A lot of the stuff on a sidecar, at least the ones on the Enfields,
Right.
were all pinch type situations. So
That's right.
there was no through hole that it was locked in place or anything like that, just because it had to be adjustable.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Right.
So mostly you just take the thing, put it all together as best as you can, kind of line it up so it doesn't look totally fucked up,
Yeah.
and tighten everything down.
Well, on those, was it clamped around tubes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them
Absolutely.
are. Yeah. Yeah. Most of them are a big hollow thing. The old vernacular for the beam that comes off the bottom of the sidecar used to be called a Queen Mary. And so the Queen Mary was this piece of metal that bolted to the frame of the motorcycle and held the sidecar itself.
Like up where the front motor mount was.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the one big heavy piece of steel. And again, when in doubt, big heavy piece of steel. And that was exactly. I brought a picture up so you guys can see what an actual modern Vespa frame looks like. Because a modern Vespa frame does not look like an old school Vespa frame. Modern Vespa frames are very, very hollow, right? So if you look down there where your feet would normally be, you'll see it's just a tunnel, and then it's reverse hollow or inverted stamped steel. These pans that essentially, if they didn't have the plastic floorboards on them, would just hold like a gallon and a half of water on each side.
Well, I'm glad you're actually talking about bolting it to it, because I thought at first it was like, well, what do you do? Clamp it to
Yeah,
it?
right.
somehow?
Exactly. Yeah. And that really is. Here's a particularly rotted out Vespa frame. So you see how bad it can get. But so as you can see underneath there, you're literally just bolting into stamped sheet metal. And that's why when you're bolting into stamped sheet metal, figuring out where that metal is double or triple thickness due to the welding process is super fucking important. And this particular sidecar rig doesn't give you a lot of that. And, we joke all the time about like, oh, you've never seen a rusty modern Vespa. That's a rusty modern Vespa right there.
And imagine with you, if you will, how much torque is on those mounting bolts when they're mounted here,
Right.
and you have maybe a 200-pound guy out
Yeah.
here, and you're
Right.
going to go like this and fly the sidecar. Well, you have 3 foot of leverage on
Absolutely.
those little bolts.
Yeah.
Did you put plates in there too?
So what I did was I took this thing and I literally just brought it out as a podcast thing. I was like, I'm going to show the guys the podcast. The one thing. So this sidecar rig came in a giant box, a giant crate, and the only thing that came in it were 6 bolts that were fake grade 8. They were completely like, they looked like they were grade 8 bolts. They had the grade 8 markings on them, but they were made out of Velvedium. They were nowhere near grade 8. I could have tested them with my fucking tooth enamel. They were not metal strong bolts. So I chucked all that garbage. This was the only thing that was supposed to reinforce it. And this was supposed to go across the frame on the inside, just ahead of where the tunnel is. And that was meant to be the reinforcement for this entire fucking operation, which is embarrassing. You know, it's just a bad scene. So what I did was I went into my collection of fender washers and I got some nice plates of 1/8 of an inch stock and hammered them to the shape that the frame was. And so I reinforced it with that. So I went through, and now everywhere that these bolts go into the chassis, I've got good, real, legit, straight 8 McMaster car grade 8 bolts, and they're fine thread. So that gives us a little more, you know, squish or a little more control over the torque. And I went fine thread. I went with a metric that will be commonly available forever should this owner decide, well, he's not going to live that long. What the fuck am I kidding? Anyway.
How's the rest of the sidecar?
Well, we can inspect it later. Yeah. It's in the room with us.
I mean, it looks nice when you see
it looks adorable. Yeah, but exactly. But that's the point is, and that's $2,800. So yeah, so $2,800 is not a small price to pay for a Vespa sidecar. But there is one that exists, and it's less than the $5,000 required by Watsonian Squire, or Watsonian. So that was the mission of the week, where I was literally like, fuck this. I'm getting this son of a bitch put on. So I stayed here one night until a little after midnight, and that was just my project. And it was fun running back and forth to the workshop, just beating on metal, getting things the right shape. I hadn't used my Fender dollies in a long time. So it was fun to get my bag of shot out, get my Fender dollies out, and just literally beat metal into submission until I had it roughly the right shape to be inside a Vespa floorboard that nobody will ever see. So, but the good news is I don't think it'll rip out now. I don't think it'll actually pull the bolts through the fucking floor.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of an important thing when you think about strength and everything. I did want to torque. I wanted to torque one of the OEM bolts so badly just to see where it would crack, like just to pull an AVE test on
Half
it.
a foot-pound.
Yeah, and just see how many
take it
foot-pounds.
apart, see what the threads look like
Right,
afterwards.
exactly,
Yeah.
right. Because it was a coarse bolt, and it was just a garbage-looking coarse bolt. Nick, what did you bring us today?
I brought a bunch of
Throttle
fuel
bodies.
injection stuff.
Right? Yeah.
So this is the throttle body and manifold off of a. I think this one was a Yamaha Bolt.
Yeah,
but
so it's a 920cc.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same as like the old V-Star 950s and
Yep.
stuff like that. So I'm always looking at, well, backstory. I've never owned a fuel injected motorcycle.
Okay. You've just owned the parts that make it fuel injected.
Right.
Okay.
And I've always sort of, how hard could it be?
How hard could it be? It's a very simple formula.
Right, because
In all fairness, you are an electrical engineer, right?
Right.
true.
Yeah.
But and there's all sorts of different there's all sorts of different projects, like there's Speedduino, which is like an Arduino based fuel injection project. There's Mega Squirt, obviously. There's all sorts of Raspberry Pi projects for controlling like ECUs type stuff. So I don't know. I saw this on eBay, and looking at the pictures, it looked perfect for just about any motorcycle conversion application. And I thought, well, I'll put it on something eventually. It was like maybe $14 for the throttle body.
That's crazy. And like, so what kind of an ECU would you run that with?
So I would probably do like a Mega Squirt type system, where that is the throttle body that has the throttle position sensor built into it, and then I just have to run it's called a manifold pressure sensor, which detects the pressure inside the plenum. So that's after the throttle plates.
Mm-hmm.
So with the throttle position and that pressure sensor, it's able to pretty much calculate everything else.
The ViewMaster.
So you don't need an O2 sensor or anything on the.
Oh, you would need an O2 sensor,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
This is cool.
So those sensors plus a trigger wheel on the camshaft or on the crankshaft is pretty much all you need to get going.
All right. Phil,
I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself.
The text
I don't believe
a
in
new
myself.
electric scooter / dirt bike that's supposedly badass.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so it has a foldable seat.
If you can make that
So
work,
you can use it
make
as
lot
like a
of things
stand-up
work.
scooter or a seat.
I'm
Fuck out of here.
It's
Really?
pretty-
I wish
cool.
you the best.
Really?
I hope this does work.
That's kind of cool. Did you
This
text
could
it to
open
me?
the door
Yes.
for a lot of things.
All right.
It might go.
It's on the
yeah.
group text.
Okay. I like how James Robertson wrote, I'm at the McDonald's eating on the curb like an animal. And it's a picture of Nick.
What?
At McDonald's eating on the curb
Oh,
like an animal.
man.
And there's a picture of you next to your Suzuki Bandit. Eating on the
today?
curb like
that
an
was
animal.
Today. It was before I got here.
Yeah.
Nick, you don't have to hoard
Yeah.
food. We will not steal your burger.
Eating on the curb like
Well,
an
no,
animal.
I was early.
I graduated from that kind of stuff after I got out of high school.
Oh, that's
Well, look
great.
at him though. He's walking into a room full
Well, you know,
of like
also I was
beastly
on a
dudes.
motorcycle. I didn't want to carry it with me.
Right. That's exactly
Carry it in you. Don't carry it with you.
Right. Did you bring enough for the class?
Jeez.
Yeah.
If it's McDonald's, it won't be with you for
You know,
long.
the funny thing is, I had a taste for McDonald's. I probably would have got
Yeah,
a
if you-
cheeseburger. Give us a
Man,
fucking
I do
Vespa.
not ever get a taste
You
of
don't have
McDonald's.
enough for everybody.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from there, even though I know that they're made out of bovine ocular sockets. But okay,
That's why I go to Dairy Twist.
I'll only eat them every once in a while.
Oh, well, there you go. So this is the Kuberg Ranger.
Yeah, that's
The
it.
Kuberg Ranger. I'm going to pull this up
That
because
sounds like quality.
The Germans.
No, dude, it's pretty
Well, it is.
cool. Yeah, it's neat. It's a different take on.
I don't want to see a picture. I want to see a video.
we must be going through the forest as quickly as possible. There must be silence so we do not disturb the
Does it run on,
wildebeest.
like wood
credit
gas?
where credit is due.
I like that.
Mike, who is recovering from his accident, sent me this link this morning because
Okay.
he has a lot of time to look.
Oh,
stuff
yeah, he
up
does.
right
Yeah.
now.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a different take. It's like a
The
stand.
Strider version there.
It is, but they have a version of it where the seat, there's a seat pops out. Like,
Yeah.
If you look at the website I sent you,
Switchblade Style.
yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
That
It's-
one clearly looks like a trials bike.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that I'm kind of under the impression with this that hold on a second, we're gonna go ahead and just shoot this up to the Castatopia real quick. But like as you know, I'm riding a lot of electric shit, and obviously I love riding electric stuff just because it's the fuck you to noise and stress at the end of my day.
Mhm.
So at the end of my day, if I want to just be like, fuck, I just need to get my head together, I ride electric. And so electrics
fun.
do have a really awesome place in my life. So
Stand up wheelie, no problem.
yeah, and they, these fellas on there are not big fellas, and those bikes look real small. Like those look like 20-inch wheels. Those look like BMX
Yeah,
wheels.
with me on there, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'd have got that last little 3 feet to get up over that.
No, but
Yeah.
The thing that seems pretty cool if you read the thing though, they have like a really fat range and ridiculous amounts of power for what they are.
Sure,
Yeah.
but it does look tiny. It does look like a monkey fucking a coconut
Right.
at this point. I mean, these are all tiny, scrawny, zero body fat children, and I am not that.
That's not even a mountain bike.
No, that is not even a mountain bike. That looks small for a
Well,
mountain
it's
bike.
it's like one of our pit bikes, but with
Yeah.
zero power.
Right.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It does look fun. I mean,
It looks super duper fun. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Oh, I ride all kinds of inappropriately small
hey,
shit.
was that fake noise coming from them, or
I don't know.
No, it was out in the
The
street.
kid might have got his toe caught in the spokes or something. That's the sound I make. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it does look funner than fuck. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. So
But-
what's that going to set us back?
I'm not sure, but the one
Oh.
that was on there though, the seat thing is cool because it goes away when you don't want it, and then when
Right.
you want to sit and just kind of cruise, it just kind of leans up.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so that I think it's like a different model or something. The other one looked a little bit bigger too.
Yeah, because they clearly have trials bike kind of setups, and
Yeah.
then they have,
dirt bikey looking things.
right. Yeah.
But-
I mean, that's kind of neat.
It is going to be interesting as more and more companies bring these things out. You know,
Oh, yeah.
here's the weird part. So like usually like all the Chinese companies and German whatever copy the big four, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But now the
Yeah.
big four really haven't released the meat of their electric stuff,
No.
and these are getting good.
This is the Ranger. This one you're talking about with the folding seat.
I think so. Yes. So this one looks
They're
bigger.
going to have to be all artsy fartsy with these smash cuts and blackout edits.
Drone
and
footage.
Stop that.
But see, it's bigger. It's definitely
It is bigger. Yeah, it is bigger. It's got a much bigger front wheel, especially, which
Looks like it's got a
I need
smaller
that.
rear wheel than the front wheel.
Yes, it does. It does have an asymmetrical.
that's
Yeah.
normal.
I'm okay with that.
No, but I'm just saying for a
I like the deployable seat. the deplorable
Be
seat.
the first to know. Would you really be the first?
I don't think so. The guy who put the website together probably
Yeah.
knows more than you do. I knew it sooner.
But I'm
So,
just
yeah.
saying it's going to be kind of interesting because all these bikes are coming out that are halfway okay, right?
Right, yeah.
So when the big four come out with it, they're going to have to be spectacular.
They're going to have to be spectacular.
Well,
the bar
Yamaha's
is going to
been
be...
making electric bicycles.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Yep.
Which borderline, like, well, if it's an electric bicycle and has front and rear suspension and everything,
Of course.
how does that make it a bicycle?
Right.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's, I mean, when, there's a giant hole in the market right now. I've got customers come in, they look at these bikes and they're like, wow, that's really fucking cool, but $9,000, ouch.
Yeah.
For the Zero. And that's true. And there's a giant hole at the $4,000 price point. At the $4,000 and $5,000 price point, that is a big,
Well, Yamaha bicycle fits in there, but it's a bicycle at
exactly.
$3,500.
And
But let me ask you this: where is the crossover where you have to have a license compared to just riding the
25 miles per hour in our state.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Moped.
So 25 miles per hour, if it goes, depending on whose law you're reading and what side of the bed the cop woke up on.
But even a moped, you still have to have a license for a moped.
Not if you're 16.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
do.
to have a license. You have to have insurance. You have to have everything.
No, but
that
you have to have a driver's license, but
Exactly.
not a moped.
Car driver's license.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people that would buy electric motorcycles if they didn't have to get an electric motorcycle license. Like, if they could just step into it with their driver's license,
Right.
like a moped.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, then the only thing they could do is an electric bike.
But you're still going to have to get it, insured and plated and all
Right.
those things. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the new electric bikes are really cool. I was looking at those Giants at the motorcycle show.
Yep.
And they were really, really good compared to the old school stuff. Because I have I have a first gen electric bike. It
Right.
weighed 79 pounds. The battery, no, seriously, it did. It weighed 79 pounds.
Yeah.
It had a lead acid battery
Mm-hmm.
that you dropped a nut taken out of it. But
Yep.
I mean, I imagine you could probably replace it with a lithium power.
Sure. Yeah.
Make
of
your own
course.
battery pack or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Like that.
but I'm just saying, what's the point though? I mean, now
That is true. Yeah.
because it had a 500-watt motor, which was pedal assist,
Right.
so it didn't go until you pushed on the pedal,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of. And it had a thumb throttle,
Mhm.
so that if you push you could push on the pedal and then put the thumb throttle all the way down, and it would go for like 20 seconds, and then the motor would drop out
Okay.
Until
Yeah.
you pedal again?
to your pedal again.
Okay.
Oh, so you got a little turbo there for a minute. And then it kicked
Yeah.
out.
Momentarily
it's,
turbo.
It's like
Yep.
for a hill or something, basically.
Yeah, but it was.
you're
I
pushing
mean,
it.
I liked it. I mean, I rode the hell out of it until the batteries went, south.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it always sucked because it seemed like your last mile is when it died,
Oh yeah. Of course.
and
yeah.
it was up the hill.
It's a 79-pound bike.
Yeah, 70.
Yeah. 79-pound bike is not the thing you want to pedal up
And
the
it's
hill.
basically like riding a moped without.
I was
going
going to say, I
Right.
saw a friend of mine once. I was 14 years old, ran out of gas on his Moto Pecan.
Yeah.
And I watched him pedal it all the way to school. I was like, that is the least cool vehicle I've ever seen in my life. Because that was it. That was like, back then we didn't have mountain bikes. We
Yeah.
had 10 speeds, but that was like riding a 10-speed in first gear.
Well, and most
It was miserable.
mopeds had pedals and sprockets just to meet the legality of it. They
Right.
were never made to actually ride.
oh, yeah. There was no way that was
No,
anything
I mean, I've
outside
broken
of-
down on my
window
Vespa
dressing.
Grande before, and it was more efficient to
But
push
you know
it.
what's fucked
Yeah.
up? As a dude that when I was 14 put 20,000 miles on a fucking Tomos 2.
Mhm.
When I graduated to my first motorcycle, my feet were all fucked up because I was so used to having my feet on the pedals like this.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then the first time I got on a motorcycle, I'm like, this feels strange.
This is so
Like,
weird.
why
Unless you
is
get
my-
on a BMW. BMWs are staggered.
Yeah, staggered a little
due to
bit.
the cylinders. Yeah. Yeah, the BMWs have the built-in stagger like pedals on a bicycle.
I should have
Yeah.
gone that direction.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That is, it's kind of surprising that you didn't. So, yeah, and that's a funny thing. Is like I have a lot of fun. My Zero SRF or FXS I'm riding, that thing when I left my house yesterday morning was at 10%, and I live in Avon Lake. So that's the small. I mean, that's 7.6 battery, and I was at 10%. So according to my dashboard, I had like 13 miles of range, and it's 16 miles to my shop. So I didn't go on the freeway. Obviously, I went down Lake Road. I kept it in eco mode, and I went gentle on it. I hit 0% at McKinley. So I was coming up Rocky River Drive from Route 6, and I hit 0%. And at 0%, it told me I had 3 miles to go. Because zeros are funny. They go from 2% to 0%. There is no 1%.
Yeah.
And I did. I was like, oh, well, I've got 3 miles to go, and I'm less than 3 miles from my shop, so I'm going to make it with no problem. And I did. I made it with no problem. There was no interruption of power or anything else. And then I decided to go around the block a couple of times just to stretch it. And I did get it down to 0% with 0 miles remaining.
Yeah.
But it was still running. I mean, it still ran. So it was just, there's this false bottom that they build into them that allows you to do stupid shit like that.
Do you notice when you're on so you're riding it hard on the freeway?
Yeah.
And it goes down pretty rapidly.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a way bigger battery than I do, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, I get off the freeway and like say I'm down to like 23%.
Yeah.
I get off the freeway at the light, it goes up to like 28 or 29%. Like as it's being drawn down.
I know.
Like there's voltage sag.
Well, or is that because it's recalculating? I mean, is it actually measuring the percentage of voltage in the battery, or is it calculating?
Right.
I
think it's probably calculating.
But I think the calculation is on the odometer, not on the because
the battery,
it'll recalculate like on your odometer on your like if you have trip 2 up there, it gives you like range left. And if you're cranking it, it'll start going down really rapidly.
Right.
But then when you back off, it starts going back up.
Okay. Yeah.
But
so it's estimating based on your riding style.
Yep.
Right.
Well,
And
then a battery under load is going to have less cranking amps than whenever you back off of it. So once you are no longer putting a draw on the battery, the cranking amps are going to come up and it's going to show slightly higher.
Right.
But
And
is it
also the voltage will come up at a resting
That's
condition.
So what is it
Right.
actually measuring? Is it measuring the voltage or is it measuring the cranking amps?
I don't know. What
I
it's
wouldn't
measuring,
care
but
about
that's
the
why I noticed it came
voltage
up.
as much as I would care about the amp. The voltage is just the voltage.
But it only does
the
it on
amps
the
are what's
freeway.
making you go.
But
That's
at the
right.
same time,
Yeah.
the voltage is typically the voltage does go down a certain a predictable amount over how much is left in the battery. Whereas if the battery is getting older, then it might not have the same amount of capacity as it did before. So you couldn't just count back.
Yeah, you could
from
have an old
capacity.
battery that'll sit there at 13 volts.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put a load on it, it goes.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right.
That's
So,
amp.
so funny enough, you guys are talking about gas gauges. So I got into a YouTube. I got into a YouTube like loophole.
We're talking about electric bikes.
No,
They
but
got
but you're
gas.
talking about like miles range, whatever. But so the Buick Riata, there's only 2 years of it, the 88 and the 87.
Had the world's worst dashboard.
It did, but it had all this like crazy, like all these things that you could do. But one of the cool things, and this actually, I was like, this is a great idea. So when your gas gauge was going down and it got to a quarter tank, you could hit what do you call it? A magnify.
Yep.
And so you'd hit magnify, and then the whole gauge became the quarter tank.
Oh, yeah.
So that way, it
BMW
was-
motorcycles do that right now.
do they really?
So
Holy
BMW
crap.
F800 ST,
Yeah.
when or an F800 GS or whatever,
Yeah.
when you get down to a quarter tank, you can hit magnify and it'll look like you have a full tank again.
Yeah, but it's just,
No, that is fucking dangerous.
yeah.
Because you forget you hit that button,
Oh, okay.
and you look down, and you're like, I got plenty of fucking gas. I don't know what you're talking about. Reserve.
But I think
Yeah.
it'd be cool if you
Yeah.
did know it. Then you really know like how
Yeah,
much
that's
of
a
that.
good idea.
Yeah.
I hate when it blinks and it's like somebody screaming at you, "Feed me."
Mm.
The
Feed me.
worst,
Feed
Steve.
me.
Steve, you'll know this. The worst in the world was the NC700. That motherfucker would get to the quarter tank, and then it just goes to the gas gauge is gone, and it just tells you like you're 3 miles in to get gas, motherfucker.
Yep.
But you don't know, and it just blinks, so you have no idea where
Yeah.
you're at with the gas. Oh, I hated that
I
thing.
mean, I
dude.
love the thing about like an analog gauge is like there's empty.
Yeah.
But then how far do we get?
Right.
Like, you know,
Oh, I know in my
how much
Ford
black can we get
F-150.
below?
There's empty and empty.
Right. In my Ford F-150, I know exactly how far I can go.
Yeah.
In my E350, I know exactly how far I can go. And in my Tundra, I can just keep going.
Right.
Because the Tundra's got a 26-gallon gas tank. It's 100 liters.
Oh, jeez.
And I have only had to I've only had to use my spare gas can one time with that truck. And I have run it a quarter inch past the empty before,
Yeah.
and then get into the gas station and be like, okay, this is the closest to 26 gallons I've ever been. And then fill it up and be like, 22 gallons. Shit, I still had 3 gallons left in there. I
Well,
could have gone another 50 miles.
How accurate are motor?
Praise-
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. No, those Tundras are like that. You think you're like on fumes, and when you get to the gas station, there's like 4 or 5 gallons
Yeah.
left in it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Because it's already.
And with bikes, how accurate are they? Because like my Super T is supposed to be like 5.5 gallons, right?
Right.
The one day I actually ran it out of gas and pushed it into a gas station. It took 6 gallons of gas to fill.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, well, what are they doing?
Oh, I fill all these bikes up at the shop here.
Yeah.
And so when I have them in the garage and I'm getting ready to take them to the gas station, I put exactly a quart of gas in them. So I put exactly a quart of gas in every bike, shake it around just to move the cosmoline around a little bit, and then ride it down to the gas station, right? So I ride down to the gas station, which is literally 6 blocks away, right? So I ride down to the gas station, and then I put a full tank of gas in it. So I can easily add 1 quart to whatever I'm putting into it. And then I don't brim it, but I fill it to the required amount. And yeah, very many times I can tell my customers that, yes, on the talking sheet, on the handlebars, it says it has a 2.3 gallon tank. However, 2.7. Or however, when you get to where it says E, you'll only take 2 gallons. There's still 7/10 of a gallon running around in there.
Wow.
And that's very common with Vespas, especially, is people are like, oh, buddy scooters. Nobody's ever put more than 8/10 of a gallon in a buddy scooter. Yet these things have a 1.4 gallon gas tank or 1.5 gallon gas tank.
Right.
Nobody's ever been brave enough to have to put more than 8/10 of a gallon in, because when you get to double E, triple E, that is still less than a gallon.
Do you think they do that by design? Like,
No.
They don't ever want somebody going into a gas station and spending some real money on a full gallon of gas?
No, I think it's more like we know that pushing your bike could be a terrible experience.
Yeah.
So we're going to set the rheostat in there, or the the float, so that it's like, oh, it's going to read empty here, but there's all this extra real estate. I ran a buddy dead out of gas when I was doing the Lake Erie Loop, the pink buddy. I ran it fucking totally out of gas, going over the St. Catharines Bridge. I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was in trouble when I got on the fucking bridge. And I got to the top of the bridge and it was out of gas. And so I was like, shit. I had a 1 gallon gas can under the seat. And that was the only time I've ever seen a buddy scooter take an entire gallon. Because I had run it out to fucking E. And stuffed the gallon of gas in it, and off I fucked. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Another 100 miles later.
Another 100 miles later, exactly. That was it. I was like, I think I made it home on that gas. So
the Honda, the Monkey, and the Super Cub.
Yeah.
When it gets all the way down, and then the last segment blinks to tell you you're totally out of gas. Well, that last segment is a half a gallon. And they go the one takes
miles,
it is, it's 50 miles.
Yeah, it's 50 miles
because the Monkey gets at full throttle.
Right.
The Monkey gets 115 to 120 miles to a gallon.
At
if
full
you have
throttle.
wide open throttle, 115 miles to a gallon.
That's fantastic.
Jeez.
Yeah, that is that's really cool.
Hi ho there, Kermit the Frog here.
Sorry, mean. You get a bit of a frog in my throat.
Morsky.
That's I'm gonna have to take a time out.
I
See, that's
actually,
what you get for not drinking the straw.
Yeah,
You'd have
really.
been just fine, but no, you had to go
switch
drink
to water.
You had to switch to water,
Straight from the lake, this is.
raw water.
I rallycrossed the Fiat a couple weeks ago, and I checked my fuel economy from running it flat out. Maybe and I had a co-driver with me, and we were swapping back and forth. So we drove twice as much as everybody else.
Oh, really?
In this poor Fiat, and
And a ruddy, mudded up field kind of thing.
yeah.
Oh,
And,
really? It was a soft track.
Right. It was
Wow.
it was dirt. Well, it was grass that turned into dirt pretty quickly.
Right.
But it at the end of my day, my average fuel economy was 27 miles to the gallon.
Wow, you are working that Fiat hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
That
does
is
it
a
hold up
significant
on the
change.
bumps and stuff?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. You're just smashing it. You're just beating it
Yeah,
off
so
the
you
stops, aren't you?
You lost some exhaust tips or something like
I lost an exhaust tip.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
It was poorly welded on there anyways, and it was very rusted.
By you?
Yes, by me. And also it wasn't very healthy to begin with.
Uh-huh.
I had replaced my clutch. Just got that done, and I was like, "All right, it's healthy enough to rallycross." Even
It's
though it was
moving.
It's
it was
moving,
it
yeah.
was leaking a ton of transmission oil through one of the CV or through one of the drive shaft seals.
Mm-hmm.
But I before like the day before I topped off the transmission oil. I was like, "All right, this will last a day."
A
Gotta
day.
get that
Yeah.
Lucas honey. That Lucas honey
Yeah.
will jam it up just enough to not.
Yeah,
Just
nice-
a packet full of grease.
Right,
Pour
a
some
nice
pepper in
140 weight oil, aka thin grease. Yeah. I I did want to say, I just wanted to call attention to one of our spirit animals here at the shop. Grant Imahara has passed.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing. Grant is not just a friend to makers, and obviously not just a friend to people who are, pretty fast and loose with explosives. Grant's always been one of those guys who's just been willing to try shit and got paid to try shit. And he's just an ace robot builder, an ace. The guys, if you've followed his career from when he was very, very young with the Robot Wars and all that kind of fun stuff, he's always been just a guy who was just a true mechanical genius. And fortunately, he was alive in a time when media and television appreciated that. Mm-hmm. So he got a lot of light shined on him, but he was also an incredibly nice guy. So I don't think there was anything that wasn't legit about Grant Imahara. He was in a couple of times that I got to meet him. Super nice, super congenial, and would take the time to talk to you about whatever dumb shit you thought was interesting, and give you the time of day. So that's something. You got to meet him too, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I met him once.
Yeah, he's a very, very cool guy. Now, what did he die of?
A brain aneurysm.
An aneurysm, right?
Dude, this year, a lot of people are dying and stuff, but this year, with celebrities and stuff, I take it for a grain of salt. I'm not happy that anybody ever dies.
Of course.
It's like, okay, I didn't know him, whatever.
Right.
But 2 times this year, Grant Imahara and Fred Willard, both of those two
Fred
guys,
Willard.
they got me. I was sad about both of those dudes, man.
And Fred Willard's an Ohio guy, so it's obviously he has a place in our heart. Grant was 1 year younger than me, so he's 50 years old.
Well, I'm okay with suicide or an overdose or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen to me. But
right.
A
brain aneurysm.
Look at this guy. He looks twice as healthy as I am. And
At least,
he just kicked over from a brain aneurysm.
That's an in-shape guy who probably takes care of himself.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what's scary.
He lives in California, for fuck's sake. Yeah. That's where people are healthy. And it's just, it's one of those things that he's somebody that we really look up to. And as people who like to weld things and build things and come up with crazy shit.
Well, even if you don't, all his work, he worked on all the prequel Star Wars
ILM stuff.
Yep, ILM.
That's where he met Adam Savage.
Certified R2-D2 drivers or something like that? Or?
Certified driver. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, this is kind of a fun thing that, he sort of played in that world where we all fantasize, right?
Yep.
So it's pretty interesting thing.
I guess the only thing that is kind of consoling a little bit is that most people that have brain aneurysms just go. There's no pain.
Yeah, that's true. It does tend to be kind of a bang. But that's
and it sucks it happened, but if it's gonna happen, I'd rather have that than him catch on fire and something.
Exactly, right. Or slip into, some sort of alcoholic, one of those child actor things.
Or even COVID or something like that. That would have just sucked. At least this was like nothing with the brain aneurysm. I don't think there's much that can stop one of those.
Yeah. Looked like he was doing pretty good there.
Yeah.
So so here's
he was
Grant.
just working on a animatronic Baby Yoda that looked pretty cool.
Oh,
it was
man.
adorable.
Oh,
he's been working on that.
That's
for
the cutest thing on planet
months.
Earth. I didn't think I was going to be a sucker for that child Baby Yoda thing.
Yeah,
I totally got me in the feels.
Yeah.
Didn't want it to, but it got me. Yeah. So
Mel Brooks has to come up with baby yogurt.
Baby yogurt, absolutely. Yes, baby yogurt with nuts. Yeah, and berries. That's that. So that's that. So that was a tough one for me to hear. It really kind of sucked to hear about that. That was no fun at all.
I was shocked when I woke up that morning and saw.
Yeah, it's just because he's not. I mean, again, we say he's young. He's 49 years old, but yeah, he is young, and he is kind of the spirit of that kind of thing.
He looks a lot better than I do at 49. I can tell you.
And me too. I'm 49 too. This is
that's cool. Right. Yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of the age when people start dying of weird, mysterious shit. So yeah, so be careful.
That's Asian genetics, though. Asian people generally try to, they do the san and fan. You eat right, do a lot of that stuff. Fish,
really?
Better diet and stuff. Maybe he didn't. But,
I was going to say, I don't know.
But that was
John, exactly how Asian are you, Grant?
Well, I mean, he also got an aneurysm, so maybe it doesn't work that well.
That's also
genetics,
true.
though.
Well,
I think that's genetics.
Well, that was talking about people who were like Okinawa, for instance. Some of the people who lived the longest are from Okinawa. Easily
Yeah, they do
into
live
their-
forever. Yeah.
Easily into their hundreds.
That's where Mr. Miyagi came from.
But they came up with their diet being, the diet of being san and fan, where it's mostly like vegetables with some meat, and you only eat till you're 80% full and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
interesting.
That's the only reason I made that.
Yeah.
Well, and their meat's only fish in Okinawa.
And you're eating fish
Yeah,
with
they
rye
don't
and
eat meat.
That's a really
in
good
Okinawa.
idea, yeah.
They eat fish and a couple other things. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
That
the
is
lowest heart attack rate in the world. In
I'm
Okinawa.
sure there are some Chinese who would put that I smoke cigarettes and drink
Yeah,
and eat only noodles with
And that's
sodium.
and that's
but
the American diet.
So this is kind of weird. So like you get to be like 25, 30, and like you have to start going to a million weddings. All your friends get weddings, right?
Oh yeah.
Then you get to be like 45 to 50, and then you have to go to all your friends' parents' funerals.
Yes, you do.
Because they're all starting
Yep.
to pass away and stuff. Then you get, and then you get to like the 60s and stuff, and that's when all the weird fucking diseases and people start to. It's all these different stages,
Yeah.
you got to go through. It's fucking weird.
And then you get into your 70s and you're like, oh shit, he's still alive?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I better call that guy.
And then you get to the 90 guy, and
Yeah.
he's like, I got nobody left.
I got nobody
I'm
left.
lonely as hell.
I'm hanging out with young guys. Yeah. I'm hanging out with young people
My
because
aunt is
I'm coming to
98.
Phil's shop.
Talk about that KZ1000.
That's exactly right.
So
Yeah.
actually, my grandmother's sister, who is still alive, is 98, and she's taken to wandering at night.
Oh yeah.
So she's like wandering around the house and wanders out. Sleeps during the day, so she's flipped. That's very common.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that now they're like, oh, we got to keep her on lockdown. 98.
Man.
Did you hear about? There's a it's a home for older people, and it's some. I wish I knew what city it was in, but they designed the thing to look like a 1950s
Yeah, it looks like a
town.
1950s village.
Wow.
Yeah, I've
So
been
like
there.
the
yeah.
people that like kind of are losing it, they feel like they're
Right.
themselves again. I thought that was pretty cool actually.
They all feel like they're in Mayberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go there right
There's
now.
still whites only signs and shit like that.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
I'll take a seat in the jail, please. Otis.
We'll literally have a little jail cell with Otis in it. When somebody's bad, they got to go and sit in there. Yeah.
They didn't lock it.
They they don't lock it.
It's honor system.
It's totally honor system jail. Yeah. Well, why don't you go take a time out there for a minute? And it's, I mean, it is as we're aging, there is some weird shit that we're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention what you wake up to every morning. You're
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I've been doing a lot more kayaking, trying to take advantage of the lake and everything else. And kayaking is something that I can do when I get home from work at 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night or in the morning. And I paddled from my house all the way up to CEI and back. So it's 2.5 miles each way. And that's the longest paddle I've done in a while. And I'm doing it in a really shitty little kayak, a little blow molded kayak. So you're not making good time. It's not easy paddling. And I'm out there and like these 3 lesbians always intercept me. And it's these same 3 women. And they're like, they're all, their skin is just leather.
Oh.
Their skin, they just look like footballs. They look like slightly deflated footballs.
Arr, there he blows.
Yes. And they paddle up. And I don't care where I'm going, but I try to basically pick a trajectory and I haul ass.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just working. And I'm looking at my stroke count and I'm kind of like keeping my rhythm up. And I'm just going to fucking go. Right. And then I see these ladies coming out to intercept me. And they're like, they're like the German wolf pack.
The U-boats.
And they're like, shit. Right? But they smoke like Marlboros.
Tom Hanks is making movies about this right now.
Yes.
It's like,
And they have little coolers strapped to their kayaks.
Yeah.
And they just must go out and float on the water like fucking bobbers. And they just drink whatever they're drinking, like, Claw or whatever. And they drink whatever they're drinking and they smoke cigarettes.
Ugh.
And they don't have any SPF on whatsoever.
nah.
And they're just raisins. And
Leather doesn't need SPF.
oh my God, man. And they're
They
sweet as
They use-
fucking
They use oil once every month. Just to keep it.
Silicone. Tongue oil.
little armor all.
That's hilarious. Oh man. They are so sweet, but I mean it's just like, oh Phil, we haven't seen you out in a while. You've been busy and everything. I'm like, yeah, I've been busy. And I'm like, yeah. And meanwhile, I'm trying to exercise.
Yeah.
This is my exercise. This is not give me a cooler and a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
I'm going to hang out on the water for the next 9 hours. I'm not one of the guys out there in a little silver boat drowning worms.
Right.
Catching, $14 worth of walleye.
Drowning worms.
Fuck, man. I'm out there trying to actually get a workout in. And these ladies are fucking fantastic. But yeah, they're just so funny, and I get a kick out of it every time because they're just getting older and older and older. But I can't tell how old they are because they might be 36
Right.
and they might be 120. I just can't tell. Yeah, I gotta cut them open and count the rings.
That's the thing. Like, so you get an African American woman, and you can't. You're like, she's 30, and she ends up being 75.
Well, yeah,
But you get these white like sun ladies.
yeah.
And like, you're right.
You can't tell.
You don't know.
You have no idea.
It's like, and
Yeah.
you're embarrassed to say.
Yeah, there's
60?
absolutely. Oh,
I turned 33 last week. You're like, oh, Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Oh, yes. So now that you're retired,
You
what do you mean I'm retired? Jesus Christ! I just got the job at TJI Fridays.
You reach-
Really? I'm the bar.
You reach in your back pocket here. You can use this more than I can, and just hand them your sunscreen. Like, there you go.
My God, they would never touch
I
sunscreen.
know.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. The inside of their eyelids, are cracked. It's mental.
They start smoking. They're like, get away from me.
No, they were smoking the whole time.
Oh,
They
you're
were
right.
smoking the whole
You're
time.
right.
Just chain smoking. I've never seen them not smoking. It's fucking hilarious. And it is, but that's a funny thing. Nobody can buy a boat right now. It's gotten so desperate. I've seen shit go by my house on the water that any one of us, like 6 trash cans taped together in a Minn Kota trolling motor on it, and that passes for a nautical vehicle at this point.
Have you met my canoe that I bought 20 years ago from Mohican that had the kill drug out of it? And
Really?
Oh, geez.
You got an old aluminium canoe that came from?
No. It's Old Town.
Oh, it's an Old Town. Yeah, right.
So, yeah. And I
Yeah.
got by with having one layer. It has the foam,
Yeah.
2-layer composite and everything. But now even that has dry, Then I slapped a aluminum patch on top of that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've got a Mad
It will
River.
float
I got a Mad River canoe. It's not long. It's 17 foot, but
That's
it's
long.
real unstable. It's a fast canoe.
Oh.
So you got to really have your shit together when you're getting into it. So it's not for amateurs.
Yeah.
So it's not a big like rental canoe with the big wide bottom where it's like ass is wider than its waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's a freighter.
Right. Exactly. Right. And ours is not. So ours is, the gunnels are real kind of low, and it's a 2-person and no gear kind of
Oh,
canoe.
wow.
I mean, it is not fucking around, but it is a polystyrene canoe. It's not an expensive canoe, but it's also like not really for amateurs. And we pull it down every year. We clean the shit out of it, like make sure everything's good and clean, and we take it out for a run. And we took it out for a run last week, and I was like, this goddamn thing is really an old, like it's 14 years old now. And normally a cheap plastic canoe, you're not going to get that kind of lifespan out of it. We keep it in the garage, keep it out of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And Merritt and I can make that thing just move. I mean, that's a really fun canoe to move fast on. But this year when we were launching, and as soon as we hit the water, Merritt was kind of doing her left and I was doing my right, and then I just transferred over and I was like, oh shit, we're going in fast. And it took everything I had to keep that thing from spinning on us. But it is also the kind of canoe that if it spins on you, it's real easy to drain it. It's not like a battle to drain
So
it. Like those big freighters are real hard to drain.
Well, and we were
Are you guys doing freestyle canoeing?
Freestyle canoeing.
Yeah, look at these guys.
Oh wait, I mean,
Oh,
I see
yeah.
he's wearing a vest.
That's like up in Port Osage.
He's wearing a waistcoat.
Oh, yeah. And they do like
Freestyle.
they do turns with their paddles, and they stand up
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
dance.
I've seen this before.
Oh,
yeah,
I've seen
This
this.
is canoe dancing. Yeah, yeah, canoe dancing.
We had
Yeah.
3 guys in the canoe. One guy just sitting on the bottom with everything piled on top of him.
Oh yeah.
Like a mountain of stuff. Each guy had 3 cases of beer, a cooler for 3 guys.
For 3 guys, yeah,
A
right.
guitar, all the camping equipment,
Oh, yeah.
everything. Like 3 of us in one canoe. We'd leave at like midnight
Yeah.
to set off across an 8-mile lake in Canada. something like that. Drunk as fuck, and
Oh shit.
there was this much. It's like don't move. You're like
And the whole time, the guy in the back's going the wrong way. So
Just
you're
keep rolling.
fucking going.
Just keep
start rolling.
Just
get
keep the
some
velocity
little
up.
speed so
Yeah.
we can,
That'll totally keep you upright. Yeah, it's really. A customer called today and said, "Okay, so I need to know like what size Vespa can I fit on the back of my boat?" And I was like, "You've got that question backwards.
Yeah. What
You
size?
start with the size of the Vespa, and then you figure out what size boat goes around it. Because if you find out the hard way that you don't have enough boat for your Vespa, you have grossly undercalculated the size of your boat.
Yes.
Because if your Vespa can fuck your boat over, you don't have nearly enough boat.
Right, your boat can only handle a Vespa Chow.
What are you going to do? Run it out onto the swim platform or something?
We have a couple of customers that have really big boats, and one of them, a couple of them have davits on them that we actually will help them sling the scooters onto the boat, onto the back deck. And then one of the guys has a decent sized boat, maybe 40 feet, with a really nice big wooden swim platform that basically is a pickup truck bed on the back of the boat. And he uses it like a pickup truck bed. So like when he goes and buys weird shit, or when he puts his Vespas on, and he can tie 2 Vespas on the back of his swim platform.
Okay.
And it works. Yeah, it works fine. And it's nice because when he pulls up to the dock, the Vespas are the swim platform is the perfect height to get the bikes off onto the dock. So it makes it pretty damn skippy to load the bikes. I said, we need wheel chocks. Because that's the way I would do it. I'd have 2 wheel chocks back there and just plunk and just never miss. You know, because they obviously, everything works great until you've had a few beers. Yeah. And then you're doing the deep 6 with your Vespa Primavera. You got $6,000 underwater and it's making bubbles.
At least tie a rope to it when you go to load it.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Right. I might need to get this back
Hopefully hiring
someday.
a dive team.
Oh,
Yeah.
that thing's not going anywhere.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's great. You know, I only use 1 strap. That's all you ever need is 1 strap. Motherfuckers come in here all the time. 6 straps on the bike and it's still upside down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you got it upside down. Like, you got 6 straps. Laying on its side would be obvious, but how the fuck did you get an inversion? You know, it's just, the bike is just in the back of the U-Haul truck, just sliding around.
You ever see the guy? It's like 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers. I'll just put it in gear. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just put, the clutch will hold it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stand down.
Yeah, put the kickstand down. That's the other one. The guys left here the other day with a bike that they'd pulled up out of the service department. They put it in the back of the truck, big Dodge monster truck thing. You know, decent sized truck. They'd taken forever to load this thing in the back of the truck. Like 4 guys, 2 ramps, way too tall of a truck. Yeah. You can rent a U-Haul over here for $26
Right.
that you can roll the bike into under its own power. And then tie it down. It's got a V in the front of it. Tie it down. You're done. $26, right?
Oh, that kid that came and bought the Shadow with his fucking, I mean, the bumper was
Yes, the
up,
bumper
you know,
was 5 feet.
chest
Yes,
height at
yeah.
least.
Oh,
and I
my
did the
God.
double ramp trick though.
Yeah, the
We
double
fucking
ramp trick does work.
Got it in there.
The double ramp trick
What's
is
the double ramp?
So
you
happy to see that
your
bike leave.
you take 1 ramp and put it up like you would, but it's way too steep.
Right.
And then you took the other ramp and put it halfway up the first ramp.
Oh, so you need to get some momentum going.
Well, yeah, you don't do it under power.
Yeah.
But you know, kind of creep it up there. And yeah, I'm a big fan
Well,
now.
there
of
was no
having-
doing the Shadow under power.
No, way.
There was no power.
No, that was just a brick that rolled.
Like, please don't bottom out when it gets to the top.
This
Yeah.
guy, I don't know who tied it in or what the tie down strap situation was or if it was bungee cords or what, but you know, our driveway's not steep. It's got a little belly in it. And they made it out, and the front wheels made it down great because those are A-arm suspension, but the back's a live axle. And so when he tried to take the turn out of the driveway and the live axle just did its dip, the bike went slam. So it did the left slam, right slam. So it slammed lightly on the left and then just
High side, low side.
high side, low side. It was like low side, high side. It was very gently to a fall to the left, but then with all the force of God, it was catapulted into the fucking right side of his bed. It dented the bed, the top of the bed, the edge of the bed, right against the gas tank.
Yeah.
So the gas tank was creased and the bed was totally fucking
Double
fucked, too.
whammy.
What kind of
Double
bike was
whammy.
this?
This was in a older Suzuki Katana. Well, yeah. So it's the dollar value damage to the truck was higher than the value of the bike.
Well,
Yeah. Seriously, not even by a small margin. It was crazy.
Was the bike damaged much?
Yeah, gas tank creased.
Yeah.
You know.
So what, out of all the years that you've seen people come and pick up their bikes, what was the one time that you were just like, what the fuck is this person doing?
We had a gentleman pick it up, a bike, and you remember the Reverend R.A. Vernon from the Word Church?
Oh, yeah.
So he had brought the bikes that we'd sold him in for not him, but one of his men. One of his men had brought, the bikes in for service. They brought the bikes in for service, have everything done. Like, all the work was done. And this guy jumped on a Kimco People 250, or 200, decent sized big wheel scooter. And the guy was riding around the parking lot, and they had brought like a pretty good size, like Ford F-350 utility truck to pick the bikes up in. And the tailgate was down on the utility truck. And the guy rode into the tailgate like he didn't see it. Like the tailgate was down on the back of the truck. Right. This is a work body truck. So it's like, and with a lift gate or whatever. And so the lift gate was not deployed, but the deck of the truck is probably 4 feet, 3.5, 4 feet. and it extended off the back of the truck, just like it wasn't like painted with invisibility paint, like the Wile E. Coyote didn't paint a tunnel over it.
Right.
It was a legit thing you could see. And I watched this guy ride in circles and then ride, and it necked him. And it just necked him right there.
Oh, no.
And the truck didn't move an inch. You'd think that the truck would have at least given an inch to make him feel better.
Yeah, right.
But it didn't. The truck was just holding the earth in one place, and his neck hit the edge of that thing, and I thought his head was going to come off.
Oh, geez.
But it didn't. It stopped his head, and the rest of his body gave a pretty good fight. And it went horizontal under the truck. So his neck stopped at the truck. His head was sort of where, it would be.
And what's the scooter doing at this point?
It just kept going. So it cleaned the mirrors off the scooter perfectly, like surgically removed both mirrors. It must have caught him just above the knuckles because he didn't hurt his hands.
Oh, okay.
But it peeled him off the back of the bike.
Oh, yeah.
And he broke the top case on the back. There was a top case on it.
Because he went through it.
Yeah. Like, you talk about 10 kilogram load or 5 kilogram load or one dude. And it just went straight through. And the bike stayed upright and straight for a remarkably good distance.
Yeah, it's crazy how well they do without a rider.
Yeah, without a rider on it. He was probably going maybe 15 when he hit the truck.
Back in the Squid days, we'd do these ride outs with 200 guys doing wheelies and stuff, right? And every ride, somebody would fuck up doing a stand-up or a tank wheelie or something.
Walk off.
And they're off, and they're flopping.
Yep.
And a lot of times, because the stunt guys always had the throttles
throttle.
The bike would just take off. We'd be on 271, and the bike's doing 90, and we're like trying to catch up.
You got to go and get the bike.
Yeah. A lot of times it just went off into the grass and turned into a tumble bike. But it's crazy how good they ride without riders.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. In fact, you're kind of like, wow, I'm kind of the worst thing for this bike.
Yeah.
If we could stay off the bikes, they'd probably do a lot better without us.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It is it could be a bad scene.
What's the least appropriate vehicle somebody has ever used to pick up a bike?
Anything I own. I mean, I've done K trucks. I've put two, not one, but two Vespas in the back of a Honda Wago van.
Oh my God.
Right. Well, and you have to know what a Honda Wago van is, but it's a pregnant Civic. And I had a Honda Wago van, and I learned that you could put in the left side, you could put a Vespa small frame, and you take the back seat out. You didn't fold the back seat down. You literally took the back seat out, and then put the passenger seat as far forward as you can. Put the front wheel of the Vespa down in the well where your passenger's feet go, and then you put the large frame in, and the large frame goes in, and this is the one you got to cheat because this is the seat you got to sit. So you kind of got to lean the Vespa over a little bit. But yeah, I had two Vespas, a large frame and a small frame in the back of a Honda Wago van.
There was that guy on vintage bikes or whatever on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's some dude in England, and he has like this classic 1967, 70s, like, I don't know, whatever their class. It's like, it looks like a sporty, it almost looks like a Corvette, but it's some European car. I wish I could remember what it was. But he was driving home, and this is like his restored car. Like, this is like a thing that he spent hours making perfect.
Yeah.
And he passed by and saw like a Suzuki SP 250 or 125. And was like, I can't leave that sitting there. So he grabbed it, and he grabbed the blanket, and he put it on the back, and then strapped the whole thing to the back of his Corvette-looking car and drove it home.
I've had the Vespa Rally in the back of the Fiat 500, but that doesn't count because it was all taken
in
apart.
pieces,
Yeah,
right? It was taken apart. Yeah.
I can say I've been out in the Corvette, and I've been wanting to go curb picking, and I'm like, damn it, I really can't do that. I'm like, can I throw it on the back? No,
there used to be some guys that would show up at scooter rallies all the time with like a bike in the back of a Volvo or whatever, and I was like, we laugh at them a little bit. And the one year at band camp, I had taken down this Yamaha RD400 that I was selling one of the guys, and this was one of these Buffalo guys that always showed up with a scooter in the back of a Volvo or something. And the guy was like, gave me the money for the RD. Life's good. He riding the RD around all weekend. Life's good. I was like, well, you're going to ride that back to Buffalo? Because, Pittsburgh to Buffalo, that's not terrible.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm really tired. I'm going to stick it in the back of the car. I was like, this isn't a Vespa, dude. Like, and he did. He figured it out. He had the Yamaha RD stuffed in the back of a Volvo sedan.
If you can get about 60% of the bike in there, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. That's true.
The
this way here is my favorite. That right there. That's the sign of a true professional.
Fire up that that bike, and you've doubled the horsepower.
You doubled the horsepower of that vehicle. You could turn the car off and just use the motor on the VMAX.
Well, that's the thing is I don't own a car with a trailer hitch, so I've
Right.
definitely considered doing that
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot. I've seen a whole lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. There is a
Is that a
scene.
CRX?
Yeah, that's a CRX. I like that is another one where the motorcycle on top is more powerful than the car underneath it.
Well, maybe. You could have a B18C
And I can tell
in
you
it
from
or something.
experience that
Or a Hayabusa
Yamaha
motor.
XS400 fits in the back of a 1969 Dodge Polaris station wagon.
Really?
No problem.
Holy shit, man! Oh, a Polara.
Outside.
Yeah, yeah. That's anytime you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like the cutout. Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
you
commitment
go.
right there. That guy gets credit.
Yeah.
He was like, I could buy a pickup truck, or I have a Sawzall.
And a Honda Civic.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yep. Just take the deck lid off, take the back window out, cut most of the roof out. You'll be in good shape. Yeah, there's
If you
nothing
bought a
wrong.
big enough, like I'm thinking like a Cadillac Brome or something, and
Yeah.
did that same thing, you could put like a K truck right in the back of it. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Get some
Yeah.
go pick up some of the vehicles.
Oh,
you need to
yeah.
pick up.
As the more and more we start talking about this 89 grand caravan car trip we're talking about doing, there's a lot of interesting vehicles that I'm looking at and being like, oh, this is the perfect bad vehicle to drive across America in. Yeah.
You got me
And-
addicted to that too. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have it saved in my Facebook Marketplace, looking in.
Oh,
Phoenix,
yeah.
Arizona.
me
Right.
too.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're
Yeah.
like, I've never even thought for a second that I wanted to own a Dodge Grand Caravan, but apparently I do.
Well, and check this out. So I unbelievably, I was talking to my wife and I was like, hey, Phil's got this thing he wants to do in
Right.
a year or something. And
It's a terrible
it's
idea.
like a week. And we get this shitty car. She goes, that actually sounds fun. Can I come?
Yes,
I was
exactly.
like, well, yeah, but I was taken back a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this
Yes,
might
you
actually
can come.
happen. And you're
Yeah.
not even mad at me. Like, this is
And
great.
it is the kind of thing that it would probably be a really fun trip. I mean,
yeah.
the idea behind something like that is it would probably actually be a load of fun.
And I found a almost perfect Dom DeLuise looking.
I saw that ambulance.
yeah, dude.
Oh, shit. That ambulance is looking very prime.
It was good,
Yeah.
man.
I've been looking at Porsche 944s, at
Oh,
Alfa
yeah.
Romeo Alfettas, at all sorts of stuff that would absolutely not make it.
Right.
the entire
Things that are
distance.
guaranteed to not make
stuff
the
that
trip.
probably wouldn't even start the trip.
So
but
it looks like when you start looking at vehicles down there in the Southwest
Right.
and everything,
Yeah.
head gasket issues. How
Yeah.
many of
Yeah.
you seen that say,
Yeah.
"Oh, blown head gasket,
Yep.
blown
Yeah,
head
yeah.
gasket"?
Does not run. Yeah, because it ain't the rust that kills them. So guess
The
what?
heat.
When you take away the rust, and rust is no longer a factor of what
next
kills the
weakest
vehicle,
link.
the next weakest link is the head gasket. Yep. And that's the funny thing where you're like, okay, well, what car can I buy that's a fairly easy head gasket job?
right.
Speaking of your wife and head gaskets, I got to meet Mrs. Cinch
She did, yeah.
at Mini, Ohio. That we did
Oh, yeah.
escape
Yeah.
to
That's cool.
the farm in Chardon.
Yeah.
So apparently, doing wheelies on a 4-wheeler with your daughter on the thing, both
Allegedly.
wearing helmets. Well, no, I guess I might have done it in front of the wife. It's not a thing that you're supposed to do. But nobody told me about this beforehand. I just assumed it was okay.
But I told you during it, and you continue to do it anyway. But that's a different story. Then you started doing jumps.
Oh, the jumps.
But
Dude, did you hear her? She was loving
But I did
She
hear,
was
and
loving
I did hear, and I quote
All the way to the hospital.
B said, "Daddy, I love riding the 4-wheeler, and I love you for taking me for a ride on the 4-wheeler. This is the best day of my life."
Oh, really?
She did say that.
Ah, that's so cool.
And then I was just touching the gas and letting her steer.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And she's like, I know how to ride 4-wheelers now. I'm basically a professional. So
Fantastic. I'm basically a
excellent.
professional.
We've all been with Cinch, and we know how he likes to take it real nice and slow and
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's Steve, and his wife is shitting a brick. I'm trying to like talk her down. I'm like,
Right.
it's okay, it's okay. I'm like, for Christ's sake, Steve, could you just not be like fucking blah 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 blah, like, going across the driveway, catching air. Whee!
Oh boy.
Oh yeah,
dude,
yeah.
the kid was loving it, man.
Yeah.
Well, and she was too.
Yeah.
And we weren't. It was safe. It wasn't like it was mostly safe.
I did get to.
mostly safe.
I did get to ride the quad, and I can say with wholeheartedly,
That's
Phil,
a
if
good-
if you're planning on making a play for that thing,
Yeah.
it's tight, it's solid.
Good.
It feels like a brand new.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I definitely decided that this year is the year. I looked really hard last year to try to find a quad I could put a plow on.
It's not 4-wheel drive though, is it?
No, it's 2.
Is it too? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
That's
it's a
weird.
nice 250. I mean,
Yeah.
it shifts great. I
It
mean,
has. They make a plow for
Oh,
it.
sure they do. Yeah.
And but you know what I did notice though is my hip is sore.
Yeah.
Because I beat the shit out of myself on that thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Guess what? Yeah.
I think the
The,
funnest part though was going down. You know, he has that back field back there, and nobody's been back there in a long time. So the weeds were like 6 foot tall. It was
Oh,
like,
really?
All right, let's just start going. You start riding through, and there's just the weeds are just.
Well, but so I was on my bike and I could push the grass down, right?
Yeah.
John was on the 80.
Oh, you
the
can't push the
4-wheel.
grass down, yeah.
So he comes back and it looks like he was in a razor fight with the Jets, dude. Like it was.
Just cut to ribbons.
Well, I cut some, yeah.
Oh,
we had
man.
fun. That was a good time. There was a little bit of fireworks,
Yeah.
a lot of dirt bikes, jumping, mad wives, happy wives.
Mad wives.
Happy wives. It was a good time.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's
little
what it
guitar
should be.
playing.
Yeah, I think that's a
little
great
guitar
plan.
playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how it should be. The
But at any rate, it was just nice to sort of get a little smidgen feel.
Yeah.
a little feel of motorcycle shenanigans. Yeah. It's a big thing right now because I've really started relishing this kind of stuff. You know, this for me is a big deal, getting together and doing this bullshit. It is that kind of a thing. We're like, man.
Well, by this
is my
time, you would have
motorcycle
already
fix.
been to like 6 or 7 scooter rallies.
Oh shit, yeah. My schedule right now would have been 6th event, right? 6th or 7th event easily. So yeah. So, what the hell was that? Jesus Christmas.
That's a wave
that a-
runner. I was like, "Ruh, ruh,
You're
ruh."
right.
the hell, man?
Something was trying to start.
You were skipping across the lake.
Oh man. Anybody got anything else? Wake Steve up so you can go home.
Any listener mail?
No, you know what? I did get a message from what's his name? Steve, help me with this one. What's his
Rand?
name?
Rand? No, Dave or
Rand.
Oh, Rand.
Teasing. Rand.
so he's alive.
He's alive.
Durand.
He's alive.
Durand.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready?
Wait, can we take bets if he's still married?
Well,
Oh.
this message came in Sunday at 0150.
Oh,
As oh my god, still here. Miss you guys. Hey, I got a question. Can we talk about points?
Points.
What's your position on centrifugal advance modification? Let's talk the physics of timing advance. All the listeners will love it. I'm just fucking with you. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from your points discussion, and honestly, that was a pretty fucking good setup.
Yeah, that was good.
I learned a lot from the points discussion. Not really. Everything I needed to know about points, Mr. Frost taught me in 10th grade auto shop. For real, points are great. If anyone takes the time to learn how they work, they actually make great sense. Same with carbs. On that note, I got a new bike, a 2020 Kawasaki Z900 RS.
So something that neither has points
Or
carbs.
carburetors. Well done. I wanted a UJM without a carb. I tried really hard to buy a Honda CB1100, but that failed. Anyway, I hope you all are doing well. Phil, hey, I'm really sorry to hear about your mom. My thoughts are with you. Mom's pecan pie, mom magic, much love. That was Rand. So thanks, Rand. That was very cool.
Good to hear from you. Glad
And-
you're still around.
And a Z900 RS is a bad motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
is, but it's not a big bike. Isn't he like gargantuan, man? Like
He's
super-
very big. He's very tall,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, he's very tall, dude. I mean,
night engineering, dude, lowering foot pegs.
Yeah, those are
there you
great.
go. Yep.
I wouldn't call him a lurch, but
No, but the Z900 RS I think is a beautiful bike.
Yeah,
I think
good
aesthetically it's just a gorgeous machine.
Yeah.
And it's one of
it
those
looks
things
good
that-
from the side. I was a little bit when I saw it
Yes.
up in person. I was
Yeah.
like, the tank wasn't all that I wanted it
Yep.
to be. It was a little wider and a little more rounder when you are like standing over it, but still the side view is
the
beautiful.
CB1100, the new one, or the 2013, I guess, that probably is the one that I felt had it. Like, boom, moment in time, nailed the concept, was better than the original 1983 issue. I thought the CB1100 was a really, really, really nice bike. And then
put
they
that
fucked it
tank
up.
on.
Yeah, and then they fucked it up. And I thought they had it right for 1 year, and then they lost it. And then the Z900 RS, I think that's a really, really nice bike. But yes, there are certain things about it that are just like, eh.
Did Rand mention what color the Z900
Ooh,
is?
I don't
Because there's
know.
only one right color.
Yeah. And there's only the cafe
that.
version, right? The green
Oh,
one.
it's nice.
Is that the
Yeah,
green
it's
one?
There's some new prototypes. There's some
Right.
prototypes of the Hondas,
Oh, the
like
black and
of a
green
Honda.
and
Like
yellow. It's
green
another
and
one
yellow,
that's supposed
yeah.
to come out. There's like a silver and blue one that looks really cool, and a gold and black one. That was
I know it
awesome.
sounds weird, but Corona might inspire a blast to the motorcycle economy because right now people are fixing old motorcycles. Right now people are working on old shit, getting it out of the garage so they can ride it because like we said earlier, you go to the dealership, there's nothing there.
Right.
I have seen quite a few old bikes out on the road. And maybe it's just because I'm paying attention more, but
I rode the Versys the other week and I had a customer try to trade in a Versys 300. And so customers tried to trade in a Versys 300. I rode it as well. And that is one of those situations where you're like, it's funny because you can ride something like the Benelli 300, the 302S, and you're like, this is a really fun bike. It's, it's interesting. It's small. It's very much like the CB 300, CBR 300F. You're like, this is very, very cool. And then, but you ride the Versys and you literally, your brain's fucked up because I've ridden so many Versys. I think a Versys is a perfect motorcycle. I have zero complaint with the Versys as a whole. It's brilliant. It's one of the few motorcycles I can really say that about. But then you get in the Versys 300 and you're just like, oh shit, somebody shrank a Versys. Like it's a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, it's a Versys with half as much power.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like. And the problem is it's like, it'd be great if nobody ever knew what a Versys was.
Right.
Like people who've ridden a KLX 250, but have never ridden a KLR 650, right?
some
So
things just don't scale well.
they don't scale well. And that was exactly what I felt about the Versys 300.
And I think that bike, though, is generally made, though, for guys that like to do quite a bit of off-road and things like that. So they wanted to keep it really light. And so they don't need all that power on the dirt. And basically, you're just slabbing it to get to where you want to go. And
Yeah, and the Versys though is definitely a street bike. I mean, there's nothing dirty about a Versys 300. A Versys 300 is not a dirt bike. It is a street bike that has an upright riding position. If anything, I would say it's less of a dirty bike than the Versys 650 is.
Right. But guys are doing it, because it's got 20. Doesn't it have a 21-inch front wheel though?
The 300?
Yeah.
No, I think it's 17. I could be
sure?
wrong. I'll pull it up. I do want to pull it up.
19-inch front wheel.
It
or
might be
something
like that. Yeah. I'll give you that. The
It's got the Ninja motor in it. Though,
the 300,
right?
yeah.
300,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
the
don't
300.
think that would be so good for off road though.
It's just when I rode it, it just had the feeling to me that it needed a little more junk in the trunk. It just needed a little more push.
It looks aggressive though.
It does look super, and especially when you look at this one. When you look at this one, you're like, well, shit, Jesus Christ. But this is just like that CSC, the California Scooter Company bikes, where it's like you take a little bike and you add a bunch of plastic luggage to it.
Right.
And it gives you the impression it's like a peacock opening up its feathers. It's not necessarily a big bird, but it's a lot of feathers.
It's an adventure bike.
And those boxes are terrible. They're exactly like what I keep my taxes in underneath my desk. Same plastic.
They're not, it's not heavy duty.
No.
Nothing on that bike is real heavy duty. It is a light machine. There's no
I
doubt
don't know
about it.
why that made me think of this, but has anybody ever mounted filing cabinets to a motorcycle?
No, but I mean, a lot of people have gotten away with
Yeah, those adventure bikes look like it.
I've seen people with literal suitcases bolted to the
Really?
sides of their bikes.
Yeah, and they're I've seen all kinds of weird different.
Do you know if Rally Raid? So like Rally Raid makes a really ridiculously awesome kit for the Honda 500X.
Okay,
and it's like suspension, spoked rims, wheels, exhaust. I mean everything, and it makes it into an actual really nice sub 500 pound or right around 500 pound adventure bike. I wonder if Rally Raid makes something for this thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they do or not, but
I'm going to show you guys something. This is a little tip from your Uncle Phil. These are cheap as hell.
Oh yeah.
You can't get these any cheaper. They're called Maramites, and a Maramite is all insulation. So
My buddy has a couple of those.
it's an inch thick on all sides. This will keep, there's these little aluminum sleeves that go inside of it. And this thing's big. I mean, this is like one guy carries this. You don't carry two of these, you carry one of these. And you fill each one of these containers up with a various different hot food product, and it stays hot for a very fucking long time. And like this will keep, usually they'll send one of these sleeves will be out full of eggs, one will be full of bacon, and the other will be full of coffee. And you send the bacon, the eggs, and the coffee out, and you've got 16 very happy guys. And these Meramite containers are about the coolest thing you can bolt to the side of your motorcycle.
They look way cooler than those big ammo cans that you can get.
Yep.
Because I had a couple of those, and I never mounted them to my SP250 because they were too pointy.
They're very pointy, extremely pointy. These Meramite containers, you put ice in there, and the ice will stay ice for like 5 hours.
Wow.
6 hours, no problem. You put a bunch of cold beer in there, they'll stay cold for an extremely long time. So yeah, these Meramites, if you can get your hand on these things and you want to make your adventure bike truly tote some food and do it in class and style, this is the way to do it.
And you can rhino line them and they'd be fucking dope. You'd have them forever.
I think they just look great the way they are. They're made of aluminium. They don't rust.
Away. Yeah.
So they're really, really good. And if you get a chance to buy these things, don't pay $100 a piece for them. Look around. I mean, even at $100 a piece, they're still cheap.
My buddy used a story that he pulled the motor out of his VW bus and set it up on top of that thing to rebuild it on the side of the road.
Not even questioning that. These are harder. I mean, they're hard as fuck. They're just a very cool thing. I've toted these all over the world, and they do exactly what they say. And it's not like, oh, we're using an ammo can and using it for another purpose. You'll use this for the purpose God intended. You're going to keep really, really cold food in one and really, really hot food in the other. And they work fucking great.
Or beer in both of them.
Or beer in both of them, exactly. You put 26 beers in there and one layer of ice, and I think you got 26 extremely cold beers. Yeah, very good stuff.
Look at Honda CBF concept.
I mean, Honda
CBF, that would probably do it.
CBF.
Concept.
Oh, okay. Oh, is this the 500?
No.
Oh. Okay. All right. More intrigued. Okay. All right. Yeah. 4-into-1 pipe.
Okay.
So it's got a lot of the touch points we like.
So that's what looks
a lot
like
of air under that tail.
Honda's going for instead of the CB 1100.
Yep.
This would be their new.
It's a
V4. And look at the swing arm. The swing arm. It's a single-sided swing arm.
Yeah, that looks like it stole it off an NT650 Hawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like a Hawk swing arm right there.
Dude, that's a good-looking bike, man.
Yeah.
What kind of engine is that? Because I saw
inline 1100
over there.
By the looks of it.
In the top left
or
corner,
900.
it says
I'm sorry.
V4 Super. Wait.
So that's supposed to be coming out as the competition or the answer to Kawasaki's.
I get it. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's real pretty. It's especially striking in that silver color. That looks really nice.
Yeah, with the blue
So that looks good.
I almost wish it was like a brushed aluminum tank.
Yeah, that would be cool because realistically, when you look at the original item, so, that's the way it looked in its original clothing, back in the day.
What year is that bike?
83, right?
83, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
why are the headlights always pointing slightly up?
Okay, so that is an excellent point. I have noticed that in a lot of pictures. Like that headlight right there would not be illuminating shit.
Right.
I don't know why that is. I think it might be for the pictures taken from the front. Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
because the bike's wiring, the insulation is hardened up over time, and all the wiring that's inside that headlight is kind of shrunk. So where it used to be able to point easily down at the road, now it's kind of like.
And Nick, to your point, it's on the center stand, and the rear wheel is 1.5 inches off the ground.
Yeah, but look at this
bike. It's even going to be
there's no load on the fork.
Yeah,
that's true.
But if the back end's up, once the back end goes down, the light goes even higher.
further.
I agree.
That was my point.
Yeah.
That was my point.
Right. Because you're
They're
right.
only meant for lighting up things when you're hitting on the brakes.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was
see a lot of pictures like that. I don't
For a
understand
foggy
why.
night when planes don't know where to land.
They just don't know where to go. Yep, that's it. When I was a little kid, I noticed when I had my first subscription to Cycle World magazine, I noticed that a lot of pictures of the V-twin motorcycles in the photographic representation, the front leaning cylinders had sort of a red cast to them, and the rear leaning cylinders had sort of a green cast to them. And I had no idea what caused it. And they told me it was an artifact of the print process. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I went through hundreds of magazines, and I was like, see, red in the front, green in the back, red in the front, green in the back, and whatever. And I brought out all these examples, and a friend of mine that worked in the industry was like, yeah, that happens.
Were these color photos?
Yeah. Yeah, they were color photos.
It was just a little tint of.
It was just a little bit of a tint to it, and it was just something that appeared in the print process because, of course, the cameras taking the picture, 3 to 5 millimeter cameras, taking it in infinite millions of colors. but when you print it, you're not printing in millions
You
of
only
colors.
have 16 colors.
You have 16 colors to work with, right? Yeah, so that's
Well,
exactly it.
Most printing, you're only using 4 colors.
Right, RGB.
CMYK.
Yep, CMYK, yep, thank you.
In fact, part of my job back in the day when I used to work at Jack Prince many years ago, I was the head sales manager, and I had to deal with all these assholes.
You deal with all the head.
Like, we would tell them up front, like, you know, like when you have blue and red, when you mix those together, they
Right.
make purple.
Right.
But here's the flaw. So when you're on your computer and you're designing something, the blue on your computer will look like the most gorgeous. It'll look like that 0 behind you.
Yeah.
But then you go to print it.
It's gonna
and
look
it
like
doesn't
crap.
represent it at all.
Right,
It's
because
just
you don't
purple.
have illumination behind it.
Right, and all this stuff. Well, no, it's beyond
that.
that. It's a flaw with Photoshop, but somehow they explained that it's not. But anyways, it looks literally like it's bright purple.
It's a flaw with Photoshop, but somehow they explained how it's not.
Yeah.
The
What the hell?
this is the Gun
that
Bus
an
410.
Aircraft engine?
Yeah.
Or a piece of a radial?
I think it might be a piece of a radial. Yeah, it certainly looks like a piece of a radial motor.
I bet
It looks
you-
like 2 pieces of a very, very big 8-cylinder
Yeah.
radial motor. Or in which cases, that's it. Yeah.
And in October that'll be for sale after they take that to Sturgis and the guy dies from COVID. Which, by the way, Sturgis is still 100% on.
Yeah.
The city and town has said we're doing it. We're going for
We're
it.
doing it.
Bring it in.
Oh man.
And then, so they had an article recently I was reading, and they said Sturgis is already known for spreading STDs farther than anybody else could know.
God.
So the chance of them not spreading COVID is almost impossible.
I mean, first
There
of
will
all,
not be
the
one
average
mask there.
age of
Right.
the average Sturgis attendee is like 59,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Harley Davidson might lose all their clientele
Yeah.
in one
In
fucking
one year.
event.
Oh my
COVID's the
god.
boomer remover.
Oh shit.
Oh, that was funny.
Oh fucking hell. Oh man. That's a little, it's awful, but it is one of those things that's like, come on, man.
I can't feel sorry for somebody.
No.
who-
Yeah.
No. Going to that event is just like, you're just trying to be a dick. Like,
I don't know, man.
Hey, I think Sturgis could happen if everybody wore masks and tried to be at least somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe only some people would get sick. But if you're just going to totally try to go get sick, then
Yeah.
fuck,
go get sick, dude.
Well, they're having no mask mandates. There's nothing.
Nothing.
It's
Yeah.
just
Right.
fucking, it's just
Yeah.
on. It's,
Oh, and you would probably you'll get your ass kicked if you try to wear a mask.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
that's going to be an ultra.
I don't
fucking-
think you'd
you
get
don't-
your ass kicked. I think you'd
You'll be shunned.
you'll be like, oh, look at that pussy.
Yeah.
Like,
I
nice
think
mask.
Women will get away with it.
Sheep.
Dudes will not get
You'll
away
probably walk around people just like, meh, meh, to everywhere you go. But you know
I'm
what?
pretty sure
Fuck 'em.
somebody's going to
They're not
say
gonna-
something to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they
Because
don't have
I
the-
will tell you about
their
Sturgis
tops down, they're not gonna
Sturgis
care
is
if
a
they
lot
wear
of posturing and very little
So-
punching.
Yeah.
You know, most of these guys are not going to want to fuck up their manicure taking a shot at you.
Well, most of
The,
them got 4 or 5 stints and everything else. Like they're not.
That's I was going to say again. The average age of the average Sturgis attendee. The behind us, I wanted to pull up a picture of this just for fun. This is what happens when you take 2 Honda CBX motorcycles and weld them together.
Oh, this
Andreas-
is made by the other. Well, this is a different guy than the one who made.
No,
the,
this is a different guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different guy. Georgietis or Georgietis. Yes, this is straight up 2 inline 6-cylinder motorcycles welded together with a beautifully handmade bottom end. So if you take a look there,
Woo-hoo-hoo, screamer. Where did that
so
come
the
from?
so out of this beautifully welded bottom end, you take a look at that. He's got there's an interesting offset between the back motor and the front motor
Has to be.
to allow for the crankshaft for the big ends on the conrods.
So what they normally do in this is they take a regular the crankshaft is the regular crankshaft,
Yeah.
but they mill down the connecting rods. So 2 connecting rods share the same journal.
Same space, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they're half as wide.
Yeah. It's really, really a cool build. I gotta say, I really think it's pretty. But again, remember guys, this is 32 valves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, 12 cylinders. It's 48 valves. So it's
And a shim and
48
bucket, right?
valves. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. So that is something that you're going to really appreciate every single mile that you ride this bike, because when it comes time for a valve adjustment, good fucking God, man. So, yeah. And it's nice that he built it in a very comfortable, rideable position.
You're right.
Doesn't that guy look miserable on that fucking motorcycle? Oh, man.
Well, and when he gets in the tuck, it's going to be great to look through that aluminum windscreen.
Yeah, there's no looking through that windshield. I mean, it's all polished. It's excessive amount of polished
very
aluminum, and
shiny.
it's beautiful.
I just don't think you can still rev that to 10 grand.
I have no idea.
Probably
Considering
not.
your connecting rods have half the
Mass.
half the bottom.
Well, I might even encourage them to move a little faster, I guess, because they're less heavy. You have less. I mean, I don't know. It's insane. So this is my crazy thing of the week. This is my just dopey dumb shit.
Whoa.
Whoa.
He
Whoa.
says, wait, up a little bit more.
Up a little bit more.
little
Oh,
bit
you mean the Ferrari thing?
When earlier bikes. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I thought someone said, "Oh yeah, this was built with 2 V6s."
No. Yeah, he's built other stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, and of course, a guy like this, he's from South Africa. So
Yep.
yeah, that's an interesting. What I do love though is I do love the intakes. I do love the fuel management getting into the bike. I think that's just sexy. I just think it looks
Still
great.
carbureted?
Let's look at this. Let's pull this picture up in a bigger way so we can appreciate it more.
Those almost look like Weber. DCOs.
They sure do, don't they?
Yeah.
Those do look like Webers. Yep, those look like Webers.
It's
So each Weber is
got
feeding
6 Webers on there.
4 cylinders, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so this velocity thing.
Oh, it does split.
there's
It does
behind
split.
Yeah.
down there,
Yeah, it
there's
does
one
split.
going There.
So there's
Yeah.
I don't know if that one is going. To
I think
there,
there's-
and that one is going to.
I think
there,
there's
maybe?
3 double header Webers feeding 12 cylinders.
Right. I think maybe
Yeah.
each Venturi is feeding 2 cylinders.
I think that's the name of the game.
Well,
Yep.
you only have 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's
5,
6 Venturis.
Yeah.
You have 6.
Yeah. So each one of those carburetors
So that's
has
1,
2
2,
downdrafts.
1, 2, each one
Yeah.
of those, has to
Yeah.
be.
They're
That's-
facing
those
forward
are-
though. I don't know how well a Weber DCOE
they're
can
ram
do
air.
with
They're
positive
ram
pressure.
air.
Positive pressure, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of
if
interesting.
you do that, what
Yeah.
you want to do is make sure that you pressurize. Now these don't have a float bowl on the bottom.
No.
Is that like the float bowl?
That
Yeah.
rectangle on the top.
Rectangle on the
So
top's the
so
float.
what
Yeah.
you do
Yeah.
is you have to run your vent for the float bowl has to get pressure from the intake.
Okay.
Oh.
When you put air pressure into it, it also pressurizes the fuel.
Okay.
And then it works.
Huh.
What I'm curious about is the gorgeous polishing on every inch of this fucking thing. It is beautiful. And then I've got 2 things that are mystifying to me. One is, what are these giant rectangular blocks
Yeah.
on the front?
Radiators
Yeah.
for oil.
It's got to be oil coolers.
radiators?
They got to be oil coolers, I guess.
100%.
And then this looks like a giant wide open starter motor over here. Back by the flywheel
Yeah.
or back by the transmission?
Is there a side shot up more? Or no?
Yeah. let
like
me
a
see.
mother side shot?
Yeah, right above his foot. Above his foot.
yeah.
What is that giant thing that's missing a cover that looks like it's where the starter should be? Unless it can only be started remotely.
Listen, it's just a
Yeah.
prototype. It's
I
not
think it can
perfect.
only be started remotely. I don't think you can start this with a
Yeah.
native starter, which makes perfect sense because how the fuck would you even think that you could start this with a native starter?
Yeah, right.
So
You can bump start it, right?
yeah, totally bump started. Absolutely.
Just got a kickstart.
You just got to push it up to about 7 miles per hour, jump on the seat real quick, put it in second gear, and then for that brief moment, the world stops.
Right.
Yeah, and all the people fall off. Yeah. It's a very interesting bike. I think it's a beautiful bike.
It stopped the rotation of the planet.
I think it's a pretty bike. I don't have one problem with it other than I'm just impressed the guy built it. I think you're right though on that oil cooler tip. I think that's just a giant, ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, the cylinders that are completely horizontal don't have any air.
No, there's
going
no
through
air going
the
to them
fins.
whatsoever. It's like the fins are literally pointing the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah.
Milliard did a V6 out of a KZ13.
Yes,
But
he
that's
did.
liquid
Yeah.
cooled, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
liquid
Yeah.
cooled.
Liquid cooled.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't like the missing front fender. That bothers me.
Oh yeah, because that's what's missing.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any room that radiator
Right.
and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
He
it's
can only
upside
turn the
It
down
front
was
wheel.
fender or oil cooler.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right,
yeah.
Right. He can only turn the front wheel 3 degrees. Yeah. So that's all you get out of that front wheel is you get 3 degrees left and 3 degrees right. That's it.
That's all you need.
Yeah. I don't care.
So what do you think
just
the oil
sexy.
capacity is on that bike?
Okay.
It's an
18
oil
quarts.
cooler.
Yeah, 18 quarts. It's 18 quarts. It's it runs Rotella.
Yeah,
Yeah.
T6.
Yeah, it runs Rotella. It is truly a T6, and it probably runs 16
I can
quarts.
just imagine this guy asking on the forums, "What sort of oil should I run in my CBX V12?"
So I had
Not another oil thread.
not another oil thread. So here's an interesting quiz for anybody. I mean, just for the hell of it,
Riddle me this.
I will. What motorcycle uses straight 60 oil?
Say what?
Yeah. Right.
Who's your West now?
Right. So
Is it a diesel?
I had a customer today call me and specify, hey, do you have any straight 60? Not 10 W60, what Moto Guzzi's use,
The answer
or
is
20 W50, what Harley Davidson's use, but straight 60.
the answer is no motorcycle uses that.
Mhm.
But some customer thinks he wants 60 weight because his bike is smoking,
Right.
and he's going to add 60 weight to try to make it stop.
Or they
smoking.
read it. He read it in a forum for like over 90 degrees. You could put straight 60 weight in
Right.
like a Harley.
Yeah. So I did look it up and I was like, man, this just feels to me like this is some really, really old school shit. And it is true that Harley Davidson's used to spec straight 60 in their original shovel heads.
Oh wow.
So, but I also think that it might be one of those things where it was like, okay, like you said, to make up for a particularly leaky engine, go straight 60. And it's a very funny thing to me that was the case. And I had to
Put
look.
honey in it, it won't run out as fast.
That's exactly it, right? And Harley Davidson did recommend HD extra heavy duty SAE 60 was their recommended oil. And I'm like, well, fuck me running. I had no idea that was the deal. And that is because I never messed around with AMF era big twins. You know, just never anything I was even interested in. And that is to me, it's a really interesting thing when you think about Jesus fucking Christ, a straight 60 weight oil, you know, man. So I thought that was pretty funny.
But you know, going a little thicker during these hot months.
Yeah.
I put that Lucas something 50 in mine.
Okay, yeah.
Like whatever. It was
That's what it
recommend-
says on the bottom.
No, I can't. I have a picture of it. I can find
Yeah.
it, but it's a little thicker. You don't want to run it under 40 degrees.
Right. Yeah.
But it dropped the temperature of my motor by 25 degrees. Like easily running.
Yep.
It runs like a fucking sewing machine
Yep.
now too.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It is
Well, the STP, you know. Did you ever use the STP in the old metal can?
Yep.
Oh, back in the day.
Oh,
yeah.
and you go to dump it out. And
motor honey, man.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just molasses. Yeah.
Yep.
It is when I used to work on a lot of weird old vehicles at the airport and the military and everything else. And there were a couple of vehicles that were like, 60 weight kind of thing. But yeah, I know that it said 60 on the side of the block, but that was for like tropical use.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that was like for not anywhere it might get cold out.
Yeah.
And all those things that said 60 on them were ultimately 20 W50
Right.
because that oil was now available. Nobody actually ran 60 oil in it. In fact, at the airport, I think we ran 30 weight in everything, you know.
straight 30 weight.
And we really did. I mean, a lot of our utility vehicles, I think we just pretty much ran straight 30 weight in, just because the old man had that shit left over from World War II, and he had just barrels of it, you know.
And I think honestly, like unless you're putting like water oil in, you know what I mean, like something really thin, like going up or down a little bit. It's not. I think changing it more frequently is probably more important than
A lot of cars today are running 0 W20 or something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Zero
Yep.
weight.
And they're
Yeah.
coming out with a 016.
Oh yeah, 016. Yeah, that's the new one. It's
I was just dumping.
But I can tell you when that oil gets old, when you approach like 5,000 to 7,000 miles on the 020, you could hear the tappets.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you can't go anything over on it. Yeah.
No, it just the stuff just is so thin.
It's water.
That it wears out, and
Yeah.
and you could.
You need to change it, and you
that
need to
keeps
buy a
the-
new motor every 200,000
That's
miles.
probably
Yeah.
the answer to engines getting sludge and stuff like that. So real thin oil keeps them clean.
Yep.
I think it's for
Rinses them
economy. I
out.
think it's to make a higher
Fuel economy.
higher fuel economy too.
At the airport, the aviation,
Because oil
the
greases
oil that
it.
we used in all the air-cooled Lycoming 6s and everything else was 15W50. And you think about, airplanes, they kind of do the same RPM, for most of the stuff that has a variable speed, a variable prop and stuff. Airplane engines they hold a very similar RPM a whole lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
And they just go for hours and hours and hours. And yeah, they all love the 15W50. That was the W100, but that's basically just airport.
Are there big temperature differences though between like
Yeah.
ground level?
Oh,
and
hell
go up
yeah.
there? So that's why
I mean, you think
definitely
about
want multi-weight.
we're on the ramp getting a plane ready. And it's 115 degrees out, and where he's going to be flying, it could be, 12.
They don't put carb heat on it for nothing.
That's right. Yeah, it could be a lot below freezing in a matter of minutes. Plus,
The
air
dew
cooled
point.
motors tend to expand and contract quite a bit.
Right.
So, yeah, for us I think it was 1550 for pretty much everything that we ran. So,
Wasn't
Yep.
that the SR-71 Blackbird, right? You talk about expanding and contracting.
All the gaps in the fuselage.
Yeah,
They would
it
leak
said-
fuel.
Yeah, it leaked
Yeah.
fuel to the
Yeah.
point that half the tank would be gone before it took off because then it expanded from the heat of the thing.
it's good for the environment. We're just
Yeah.
going to dump Jet A right
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the fucking environment. Kerosene doesn't hurt anything. It's fine.
Do you remember a few weeks ago there was a jet that was having a problem and it dumped all of its
Yeah.
fuel on schools?
Yeah, it just flew around in circles, emptying its. Yeah.
The kids were out and on recess. It was before COVID.
Yeah.
The kids were out playing recess and
They're
jet
all covered in
just
kerosene.
dumps on-
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? I have made my mistakes before.
Yeah.
I've been on the wrong end of a whole lot of, diesel going everywhere it shouldn't be at 200 psi.
Yeah.
And have the whole diesel bath where like everything is diesel. Your hair feels really good for about a week after that.
Yeah.
That was a trip to Bearden's one time. My Volvo, the tank had split, and I didn't realize it, and I knew it was leaking. I could smell it. I saw it was dripping. But I went with Peggy to Bearden's. I parked in their driveway.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm like, there's like, does somebody own a Volvo out here? You need to move your car now. And I'm like, wow,
Uh-oh.
that was, I
Shit.
had a little fucking leak. I come out and there's fucking gasoline.
Oh no.
Like 5 gallons, like a fucking
Oh, shit.
stream. I'm like, oh my God. And I,
Did you take your cigarette?
what I was like,
Oh,
holy shit.
man.
I'm like, pay the bill, honey. Pay the bill.
Yeah, let's
get the fuck
go
out
before the fire department shows up.
I took out and then I spun out on it because it was gas on the blacktop, and I was like,
Oh man.
I fucking drove out of there. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, we got to drive around. I got to go around corners and stuff till it leaks the gas out of the fucking tank.
Damn.
I was like, oh, that was
Is that a
bad.
240?
Yeah,
740?
240.
Oh, that's my favorite car. I loved it.
I'm
240,
Like
man.
740 turbos.
Yeah, I had one of those too. It's a good car.
It was
I'm-
a 240 silver sunroof, hand crank sunroof, black leather.
Wagon or
interior.
coupe?
Coupe sedan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Paid $800 for it.
I'm sorry, you guys. I will not drink that fucking Kool-Aid.
No,
Every time I look at a Volvo, I'm just like, fuck, man. Like,
dude, there's something about them. My 740 was a 5-speed. It was
Really?
a turbo, and it has the Porsche slink to it.
Yeah.
Like when you give it the gas, it's like roar, and it just.
Yeah.
And that car, like I think I talked about it before. I had 350,000 miles on when I bought it for $500.
Yeah.
I sold it for 600 with 425,000 miles on
Right.
it. And the guy I think he's still driving it.
My
I don't
Speedo
doubt
was
it.
dead at 300 and some thousand miles, and I
Yeah.
drove it for 4 or 5 years, and then it threw a timing belt. I threw another one in it, and it still ran, and I
Yeah.
drove it for another year, but it never, I don't know if I was off.
it was
a tooth.
never right after that.
Yeah, never was quite.
If I
like
was
that.
gonna go Scandinavian, I'd probably go Saab.
Wow. Again, you don't like arriving at your destination.
No.
Right. You never want to arrive at your destination in the same shit you left on. Right?
But it's cooler.
You want to push it home 7
This
miles.
thing is going to look so cool in the back of a flatbed. It would make
Well-
this car look better if it was sitting about 4 feet in the air.
And depending on what Saab you get, a lot of those Saabs were the GM 2400 platform where it's a Saturn motor in it.
Is it?
Well,
it's
I
not
would go
even-
pre-GM Saab, like
Yeah,
a
of
900.
Of course you would.
Of course you would. Exactly.
Two
Right.
liter turbo.
Yeah.
Yep, 900 turbo.
They put handles on the front so you could pull it home.
Well, what was the old Saab 2-seat Roadster? Was that the Saab?
The
Sonnet.
Sonnet?
Yep.
That was a 2-stroke.
Yeah.
That was actually a
I didn't know
2-cycle.
that.
So the Saab Sonnet was an actual 2-cycle car. It was a 2-stroke.
But I always
Yeah.
wanted an Opel GT versus a Saab Sonnet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because the
Right.
Opel GT looks like a little Corvette, or it used to look like a little.
It did.
was
The
a
Opel
Sonnet.
GT, the rollover headlights.
Didn't I send you
Yeah.
one the other
Sent me
week?
an Opel,
Yeah.
My buddy
Marketplace.
dated a girl who had one of those, and she was a squirter. And he broke up with her. I'm like, what? What? I'm like, how did you break up with her?
Oh,
Cute
man.
blonde, parents had money. She's driving around this little yellow Opel GT. Like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but you're sitting there eating your breakfast cereal, just getting hosed down. Like, what's
There's
that?
there's a
Yes.
terrible movie from 1990 called Crazy People, and in the movie they basically Billy Crystal, I think it is, enlists the help of people that are members of an insane asylum, for lack of a better term, to help him write ad copy for Saab cars, and it's pretty. I mean, it's a funny movie. It's called Crazy People. It's very, very quirky. It's a fun little movie, and it's one of those things. If you've just got nothing better to do, you can watch it. But it's it was Dudley Moore. So it's Dudley Moore and Daryl Hannah, and basically what they realize is that these Paul Reiser's in it. They realize that these crazy people come up with the really good catch lines.
Yeah.
And they're like, Saab, it's not sexy. But in today's time of AIDS, do you want a sexy car? And it's just like, you're like, it kind of makes a point there. Maybe having a sexy car is not the best thing you can do right now.
Well, let's just face it. One of the two Scandinavian car companies makes a jet fighter airplane.
That's right.
Right.
That's
And it's not Volvo.
It's not Volvo. That is exactly right. Yep. I have been flown over by those Delta Wing Saabs many, 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 many times. And they are that when I was of the car show age, like when you're 14 or 15 years old and you're going to car shows and you're like, oh yeah, that's the car I want to have, man. That Saab 900 convertible and the Toyota MR2 in the electric blue, which was like the first gen MR2.
Yep.
So the first gen
Angular
MR2,
ones.
the first gen MR2 was my dream car, and it would have been something like a 1986 or 85 Saab turbo convertible. Like everybody in the 1985 car show was lined up behind Corvettes and other shit. And here I was the fucking nerdy kid standing next to the Saab 900 turbo, weighing the pros and cons versus the Toyota MR2.
What an SPG would be, Saab SPG would
Yeah.
be good.
I always wanted the Nissan Pulsar.
They have a.
Yeah, the one with the changeable back end.
Yeah, you can make it into
You
a
could make it
station
into a
looks like a
wagon or
standard
whatever.
Saab,
That's,
like,
That's
900,
that's another one of those
but it
cars
was
you're
their
like,
special
oh yeah, Nissan
project.
Pulsar,
Oh, gotcha.
sure, the
Higher
NX.
boost,
Yeah.
better,
You could make it
know.
into anything you wanted to buy the kit to make it into.
Yep. It
And
was
that's
great.
that
But
was
now it's rare to be able to find the hatch or the station wagon back to those. Like if you can find one with the station wagon.
there was
back.
one that just recently appeared on one of the Finding Cars engines, and it was in really bad shape. But there's the Pulsar NX with the sport
yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the
I
sport
saw one for sale on Marketplace a little bit ago.
recently, yeah. And they're like, there's nothing great about that car. It's ultimately just a
Yeah.
In that
Pulsar.
time period, that was the same thing as the Riata. They all tried
Yeah.
to do this 2-seater like weird
Yeah.
thing going on.
Everybody wanted to have a little sports coupe of some sort, and yeah, they did. So yeah, but the sport back was kind of an interesting concept. I always thought that was real attractive.
And if you look, none of the
Real
colors,
sexy.
the Sportback colors, actually match the car.
no, that was the idea. Is nobody can complain about your paint not matching if it's exactly 9 shades off anyway. So it's like, well, yeah, that's not a dead paint match. Well, it's not supposed to be.
But then they came out with the
It's
Aztec.
modular. What's
Yeah,
that?
Then they came out with the Aztec.
Fuck that Aztec, man.
So did that trend start or end with the Fiero?
Yeah, that's a good question
Yeah.
What
because yeah,
The
that's a
little
very good
two-seater.
question.
The Sport.
Oh,
Yeah,
The Brat.
that's kind of neat.
The Brat.
yeah.
The Brat was,
Super
but the Brat
Brat.
was cool. Though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a Brat momentarily for a very, very short period of time
Do
until.
you have the seats in the back?
Yeah, I had the seats with the ski poles.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
So I had the seats with the
Under
ski
the
poles
ski
in the back,
poles.
and The seats were made of a hard rubber coating over like a metal base. And the funny thing was, when you sat in the back, in those seats with the ski poles, you sat back there, you realized that they were made for a much smaller person.
Oh yeah.
So when you sat in it bent your spine and your ass into like a very, very strange position where you weren't like, yeah, I'm going to sit back there. It's going to really be fun. You ended up just turning around, standing up, and holding onto the headrest. Of the
And not only that, but like, think about it now. Like, there's like 37 seat belts. They have airbags everywhere, and that.
Yeah.
And this is like less than 40 years ago. They're like, just jump in the fucking back and hold on to some ski poles.
Hang on to some ski poles, dude.
And asked the guy who, my buddy who had one, and he was in front of me, and we were being jackasses. So stoplight to stoplight. He was in front of me, so he's like, and I was in a '68 Chevy. I'm like, "Wah!" Well, then just to be funny. Before he got he brake checked me, and I was like, "Arr!" I turned it sideways, and literally my car, like the guy who was sitting in the jump seat in the back was like, trying to crawl backwards up over the fucking cab when he thought I was.
He doesn't have a crumple zone back there.
Yeah. And I ended up turning my car slid sideways. And there was a telephone pole in front and a telephone pole in back. And I had to go like 20 times before I could get my car straightened out because I just put it right between the goalposts.
See, that was it. There you go. I had the Tamaya.
Yeah, the Tamaya version. Right.
And see, I always wanted a real one that looked like the RC car.
Yeah, but it didn't work that way.
No.
Right? Because it just doesn't play out that way.
That.
It's a little tiny Japanese car with a flat 4 engine. If you put real world wheels that big, if you put 33s or 35s onto a real brat, that one thing won't move. It won't get out of its own goddamn way.
Look how good the model
without
looks
changing
so
ratios.
good.
The model looks great. The model is stanced out right. The model looks fantastic. But you really can't do that with the real car. But yeah,
there's the ski pole.
There's ski poles. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. The one I had the T-tops, so there you have it. Yeah. It was that same color, silver blue. Yeah. That's an 83. Mine was an 84. And the interesting thing was you could put your foot through that hole in front of the rear wheel. So there's a square hole, a port, in front of the rear wheel. That's actually a spring-loaded door, and you could put your foot in there to climb over the side. Like you couldn't put your foot.
It's like a step side.
Yeah, it's a
but
step
it's
side.
not really a. It's not a step. Well, it
like
is a
you
step.
couldn't put your foot 8 inches higher on the top of that 14-inch tire, right, or 13-inch tire. Yeah, there was a lot of strange things on that. Like the spare tire was on the air cleaner.
What?
Yeah. So if you look under the hood of a Brat or any 80s GL Subaru, the air cleaner, where you'd normally expect there to be an air cleaner, right, is the spare tire. So I wish there was a better picture, but maybe this will show it. So yeah, there you go. So you see that little blue thing right there?
Yeah.
That's your air cleaner.
Oh, behind it.
See behind the air cleaner? That's your spare tire.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So the spare tire gives you a whole lot of crash protection.
But how much of a failure was this thing?
Oh.
The new one, the Baja or whatever
the Baja.
they called it?
Yeah, the Baja.
Oh, terrible.
It's a love or hate thing. People love them, people hate them. Yeah. I was fascinated when they came out because they are a Brat.
Like a new brand?
But it's like a Brat for an adult with kids.
Or a lot of ladies who like ladies. That seems to be kind of
that's just Subaru.
That's Subaru in general. Yeah, right. That's just a Subaru. You've just lightly tapped upon the entire Subaru marketing strategy. Right. Women in sensible shoes. That's all it is.
Once you got a Subaru, you got it licked.
And on that, my friends, ride fast and take chances.